Yeah, we're 2 minutes
It's
late.
time for Roll for Combat.
Hey, we were too busy talking to each other because we just love catching up because it's been 2 days since I've seen Derik and 1 or 2 days since I spoke to Mark. It's all we do is talk to each other constantly. And now we need to talk to each other again. Here we are. So, yes, for those of you who wanted to know, we were going to have Wes on to talk about Ravenloft, but he had to cancel at the last second. So we're going to reschedule and get someone from the D&D team. It might not be Wes Schneider, but it'll be someone who will go through and we'll talk all things D&D and talk about Ravenloft, because I actually did want to talk about this book, because this book is a very interesting book. I will leave it at that. It's interesting.
It is very
I don't know anything about 5e except that somebody was shitting on the book by saying that
Hey,
it was
look at this one
basically
too.
it was basically just a reprint of Van whatever something's
is.
guide.
It's an updated version.
But
it is clearly an updated 5.5 version of it.
Nothing in the marketing material makes it announce that it's basically just
people
updated.
on
It
our
makes it
last
sound like
stream,
it's
people on our last stream asked if that's what it was, and so I looked at them. I read them very closely, and it is very clear that it is. Like, there are sometimes even down to D10 tables, which if you weren't doing an update, you could probably come up with new things to put in D10 tables that were exactly identical or paraphrased with like 1 or 2 words cut probably for copy fit, because it does have brand new art, new layout, and things like that. So it is definitely an updated version of Van Richten's guide with, it has some new content. But we'll be able to talk about that. Wes was the lead. So if it's going to be about Ravenloft, it'll be great to have him. But anyone on their team is awesome, and we'll have a lot to say.
Here's the thing, and this is pretty smart of them. They've officially leaned into, because before they were like, oh, it's 5e. It's not a new version. It's 5e. It's 5e. And then they said, you know what? Wait a second. What are we doing here? It's 5.5. Which means we can make new versions of all of our books, call them the 5.5 version, and sell them again.
But I think the thing that the person was upset about, who was talking on our comments last time, is that they didn't call it like Van Richten's Guide 5.5. They gave it a new name and that didn't say anything. But I think
they did update it. I mean, yes, there's a lot of reprints, but there's new stuff
in it.
Yeah,
I think that this is just something that happens, and it's something we can talk about when we have people on.
Oh, wait, I'm going to highlight this. Someone said, Derik, you're a very problematic guest.
Yeah,
who's that
Jess
from? Oh, it's Jess. All right. Ban Jess for life.
I'm being harassed by your chat, so...
Yeah, Bamboozled said something else that was nasty. Is that one of your people, Derik?
Oh, someone's here saying, I'm only here for the Derik rants. Just let him loose.
Yes, bamboozle. No, and by the way, in a nutshell, there you have everything that you want. So yeah, everything about me. You have one person who is like, every time Derik is on, I throw up a little in my mouth, and I think they're being legit. And then you have Jess, who's trolling me. Then you have Alan, who says, "Let me loose. I'm here for the rants." And then you have a bunch of my patrons. So like everybody else is like one of my patrons. So like that's it. Yeah, me too. Bamboozled.
Bring on Jess so we can talk about long Furbies. Hey, Jess could come on whenever she wants. I think she's traveling though.
No, she's all cool. She's all doing she's with friends and stuff now. Whatever.
Yeah, see you next week. Next week maybe. All right, maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll bring Jess on. We'll see.
Zerd, I'm curious. I don't know anything about 5e. Why would a Ravenloft book have something to do with Eberron?
No idea.
That's a good question. It might be because of something that happened in the Vecna thing, because the Vecna adventure went to both Eberron and Ravenloft.
Wow, so Universes Beyond, huh?
Yeah. No, the Vecna adventure was very Universes Beyond. Steven had a whole episode where he had it and nobody else on the episode did.
No,
but
that makes
each
a lot
of the individual adventures was apparently a really good exploration of like that area, but the connective tissue Steven felt was not connected.
That's their old way of doing adventures. They don't even do it that way anymore. It's like, that was when they were trying to have their cake and eat it too, because
Oh,
no
also,
one does long adventures anymore. So they're like, okay, let's make lots of little adventures and call it a long adventure.
Derek, I'm looking at my Van Richten's guide, and Sire, the Morning Rail was listed as another domain in the other domains of Dread.
Oh, I mean,
in Van Richten's.
yeah, it kind of makes sense, right?
So it was already in the 5.0 version, and they just didn't. They cut the other domains of Dread section from the new one,
Okay.
and so because of they still have it. I see other domains of Dread. They abridged it. It only has a few of the ones that were there. It doesn't have all.
If there was a D&D chess, who would be the two opposing kings?
In chess?
Yeah, would it be? Yeah, like
Orcus?
would it be like would it be Bahamut and Bahamut and Tiamat? Or it's like, or
if you wanted them to be dragon pieces, which would be pretty
I
cool.
don't know. I think Orcus would be one of them.
You think?
You could also have.
I mean, I love Orcus, but
I think Orcus is
like, who is like?
You could have Hyronius and Hextor. They would have knights, and
I don't think everybody knows enough.
But
about
they're kind of boring, and I don't.
Yeah,
like
they are
them.
kind of. Yeah, they are kind of.
But they would like have knights and
but
Orcus
you
looks awesome. That's a big. You have to remember the visual.
No, but you have to
too.
think maximum nostalgia bait. Has Legend of Evantris? Has Legend
Gygax
of Evantris taught you nothing?
and Anders. Whoops.
Mordenkainen and Venger.
Now, see, this is why Jess should be paid the big bucks, because the white pieces are all famous dragons and the black pieces should all be famous dungeons.
There you go.
Hey,
you make the rooks dungeons. Right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
could be
the rooks are
dungeons that are
dungeons.
associated with
Like,
that.
yeah,
character.
so you have like
the Mordenkainen side has like Castle Greyhawk, or
and like Undermountain, and
humans versus monsters. Which
and the
Beholder?
Avenger
What's the
side
Beholder
has,
going
like,
to be?
the Dungeons and Dragons bride from the cartoon.
It's a queen.
I feel like a beholder should be a queen, right?
A queen,
representing
right.
the all-around vision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it can go
there we go.
It can go
there we
everywhere.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a knight? Has to be able to jump.
I mean that's like probably the easiest one.
That's like you can do like a nightmare or something. For
a nightmare's pretty iconic. In
Also,
that way.
I think the bishop should be a mind flare on the grounds that they have those cones that are kind of diagonal that they do for their mind blasts.
Mind flare.
Plus, I mean, that's really digging into the IP, right? Beholder, Mind Flare. You could have pawns could just be
maybe the knight is a displacer beast, and that's why I can go through other people's
I was already
squares.
thinking displacer beast. Actually, that's exactly what I was thinking. There was like a nightmare on one side and displacer beast on the other.
And I was gonna say, if not, if you don't want like a weird dungeon as it's too meta, you can make a gelatinous cube your rooks.
Jess was saying the queen could be like a Marilith if you have Orcus and the demon side, because they have the arms in all directions.
Yeah,
to go against the Beholder.
Mimic would be D&D checkers.
No. What you do is one of the pawns secretly on the bottom of it has an M on it, and it's a mimic, and it's actually like a knight or like something else. And sometime during the middle of the game, you can reveal that the pawn is actually a mimic. Replace it with a different
D&D chess.
That's why it's D&D chess, right? Exactly.
Right.
And you're like, psych! It's not a pawn; it's a knight. Gotcha.
That would actually be pretty awesome. Yeah, that's pretty great.
If you were gonna do like special pieces like that, you could have the displacer beast that is actually not in the square on the board where people think it is. You'd have to almost do a computerized version for that.
Oh yes, you
actually
absolutely
Archon. If you remember that computer game, that was like my favorite computer game in elementary school.
Like the battle chess?
Yeah, the one, right.
Yeah.
It was the one where the chess, it was like
they were animated.
Chess,
it was
and then,
pixel.
and you had to go into a battlefield and then fight.
Oh, no, that's not the one I'm thinking of.
That's Archon. Archon is, no, battle chess is where the chess would actually fight, and you'd always, like, the correct piece would always win. Archon was
we also
EA.
need to hire Joe. You could choose your own pieces, but you have to pay for every model on D&D Beyond.
There we go. Yeah. That's right. There we go. Actually, that would be even. There you go. That's the thing. It's like, which knight do you want? Here's the 50 versions of knights.
Oh, Steven, did you notice that the Ravenloft book actually had a D&D Beyond thing that I think pre-orders got it for free, but you could buy extra? They had a Taraka deck auto reader, which is a cool use of D&D Beyond, and it'll just draw your tableau of 5 for you and remind you of what each of them means and where it was in the position.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that exactly. The thing is, I looked at it, and I got the physical book because
I looked at it both
hard to read
and the one that
Beyond.
people were saying was almost the same closely, because I thought we were going to be talking about it today.
I know. Well, we were supposed to.
It's
They
fine.
canceled.
It'll
at the
still
last
be useful
second.
for next week. I'm not
We're gonna get
forget.
someone. I mean, they were just rescheduling. That's all. But Don't worry. Don't worry. No, I think the book is, I mean, it's absolutely
It's gorgeous.
gorgeous. I mean, they redid the layout. Actually, I think they have a new layout for these books, and the new layout is vastly superior. It's strangely very 4E, Derik. It's kind of a weird, like if you look at this page, you see that? It's a very 4E type layout, which I really like. They kind of update. It's like a combo of 4E and 5E into this new 5.5, which is
Well, it does not surprise me
smart.
because fourth edition
Pretty
was
smart.
easily the most readable edition. I mean, again, you could hate it, that's fine, but like in terms of like it's pure
No.
utilitarianism,
No, it's
it
fantastic.
was hard to beat. Yes, maybe it didn't have like the, you know, that kind of gritty realism, you know, that kind of like ancient tome of found forgotten knowledge, you know, but it was very easy to run for both like even the adventures, the monster stat blocks was all the iconography, the layouts was all extremely visible. And so it doesn't surprise me that, you know, D&D, in my opinion, D&D 5th edition was sort of written targeting, for lack of a better words, old grognards, kind of, you know, people who had played with 3rd edition or even played it with AD&D. And so it was written in that kind of like, here's a bunch of paragraphs of text. And of course, obviously the game has expanded significantly beyond that. And I think to improve readability and usability, it makes sense that they're sort of trying to transfer that.
Looks good.
I'll be right back. Speaking of something.
Oh, there goes Derik. Bye bye, Derik. We lost him. He's gone. Never seen
It's
him
all
again.
right. People in
Never
chat
seen him
are
again.
just developing more D&D chess pieces. I like the idea of the doppelganger that it transforms into whatever piece your opponent used most recently.
Ugh.
That's interesting, right? Because it's kind of like, oh, well, they don't want to use their queen too much because then suddenly this piece, the doppelganger piece, becomes a queen for a turn.
Look what
chess.
I picked up today from the framers. Yeah.
Impressive.
What is that?
This is the
Elminster.
This is no, it's not Elminster, but it's just
Who's
it's the wizard art from
I know what it
Easley's
is. I thought that was
from-
Elminster. Who is that?
No, it's just the cover art from the 1st edition AD&D Player's Handbook. The
Oh,
second
right.
printing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's smaller, so it was not as easy to see. I knew
Yeah.
it looked like it was something from back in the day, just from the
Mhm.
art style that I could make out.
Yeah, this is a really good layout.
But yeah.
Layout.
But I got this like 2 years ago at Gen Con and had Easily sign it, and I've been like waiting on framing it forever, and I finally got it framed.
Yeah, I got.
I'm very
stuff like
excited.
that. I have something in my closet that I only been waiting 17 years to frame. I'll eventually do it, but right now, I am not. So yeah, the topic sounds like we're kind of in it. Is so when I saw Derik this weekend, first thing he says to me, or one of the first things he goes, "Did you see?" And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Oh, like I predicted." And
I get to be Steven Glicker. I'm like, I predicted it would come true.
You did. And what was your prediction?
So my prediction was that D&D was going to do what Magic the Gathering is doing. Magic the Gathering now has this massive Universes Beyond crossover, and it started off as like a bunch of like one shot, like, oh, this isn't official, we're just doing it for funsies. But now they're all official sets. In fact, they're doing more crossover with other IPs, and they are doing core Magic sets. And thus we now see that there is a Vampire the Masquerade Dungeons and Dragons, which, by the way, if you were a kid in the 90s, those were like mortal enemies, right? Like the mortal enemies of the vampire was not the werewolf. It was Dungeons and Dragons. Anyways, they're doing a D&D Vampire the Masquerade crossover. And not just like, oh, it's a vampire crossover for Season of Horror. No, it's specifically a Vampire the Masquerade crossover. Not to mention, it's a class, right? It's a vampire class. And so you're going to take, like you're going to take classes in Vampire. It's got disciplines. I haven't, obviously seen the rules text, but I'm assuming that you're going to have like potency and celerity and thaumaturgy and obfuscation and transfiguration and I don't remember. Nope, not presence. What's it called? No, maybe it's called presence. I don't remember all the disciplines from Vampire. But anyways, and in fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if the subclasses are like Ventrue, Bruja, Tremere, Gangrel, etc., etc. I mean, it's going to be a literal Vampire the Masquerade crossover event, and if you had asked me if I would ever live to see this day, I would have said absolutely not. And yet here we are living in these. May you live in interesting times. Well, here we are.
But I don't understand about it. I mean, it's interesting.
There's a lot I don't understand about it.
Well, no, what I don't understand is like, how popular is Vampire? I mean, that they needed to do this, or I don't think it's very popular anymore.
Well,
I think it's kind of
here's the thing. I want to look at the other half of this, right? Because it's all from the same studio that used to do everything in Essence 20. So I want to roll us back a few years.
Well, the Vampire
when they first announced, Hasbro first announced, hey guys, we're going to be making G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Power Rangers RPGs. And they didn't say anything else at first. And I was like, oh, that's probably going to be what Derik has now said he was predicting. But even back then, I was like, I think they're going to do some D&D version of Universes Beyond. This is clearly going to use D&D, the game system that Hasbro has made. And then they announced, actually, we're not. We're doing it with Essence 20. And I was very surprised by this because I thought they were going to do Universes Beyond back then. But now they're bringing it over for G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers, all the IPs that they already own.
Yeah, can we start with what I consider to be the ultimate fuck you of all time, which is obviously Renegade Studios was doing the games for Transformers, My Little Pony, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe. It had its crew of people. We covered G.I. Joe, but as sort of a representation of Essence 20. It's exactly what you think it is. It's D&D, but not quite, it's just like, it's like the Cosmere game. It's D&D. Well, not really. It's different, but it's totally D&D. But anyways, they have a convention. It's called Renegade Con. And at Renegade Con, which presumably is full of people who are theoretically hyped about Essence 20, oh no, it's a way better improvement. They fixed so much that I don't like about D&D. And at this convention, it was a real, do you people don't have phones moment. Like, they were like, guys, we're excited to announce that we're doing a complete rebrand of our existing IPs, Transformers, G.I. Joe, all your favorites. They're coming for 5.5 D&D. Also, we will no longer be printing Essence 20. It was like, they did that at their convention. Like, what a dick punch. Like, I can't even.
So let's back up. First of all, Vampire is actually owned by White Wolf, who is owned by Paradox Interactive, which is a software video game company. And if you forgot, is Just Lanzillo used to work at Wizards, and she went to White Wolf. So this is not that unexpected.
Okay, so but Renegade,
that's different. They're two different. No, it is. But they're
Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition.
You're 100% right, but they're different. They're actually different. They're actually different studios.
I know that there's also the Split, and there's White Wolf, and there's Onyx Path, and there's Renegade. There's a lot of things going on when it comes to Vampire.
They all want a cut of that dark gothic horror pie.
Well, no, they all want to get on. I mean, we kind of knew. It's funny because
they all want to get on D&D Beyond.
They all want to get on D&D Beyond. That's really all it is. That's all it is. It's that they want to get on D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
And you have to do. I mean, hell, Legends. I mean, the One Ring is on D&D Beyond. Like, everything is going on to D&D Beyond. But if you want to get on D&D Beyond, you got to be 5.5. You can't be something else.
But can I actually defend Free League a little bit here? Which is this is the Lord of the Rings, the role-playing game. Clearly, 5e.
Wait, I got both too. Here, right here.
Okay.
I got this one.
And it's published by Free League. Okay. Okay, great. Now that's great that you have both of those. Okay. Yeah. Because they are different games. The One Ring is based off of. But here's the thing. This is 5th edition, but it is not Neon Odyssey. Okay. It is not just a reskin. Like, this game has no wizard. You can't cast spells. There's no Vancian spell system. You're not throwing fireballs. There's a scholar class, which is not magical.
Mhm.
Okay, this game still has, it still has shadow points and shadow accumulation. Now, to be clear, I think this game is a very pale imitation of this game. I think this game is one of the greatest games of all time, but at least I respect that they were doing something different, that they were trying to do something different. And yes, they're making a D20, which whatever, but at least they were trying to do something different. Whereas a lot of these, it's just like, hey, let's just slap 5e on there and ship it.
I got
By the way, somebody,
got
Sketchosaurus. Yes. Oh, they're all, by the way, I don't even play the 5e version. And I might get all the 5e books just because the art, so the cover arts. By the way, the interior, it's basically the exact same books. But what I was going to say is, Sketchosaurus pointed out, Traveler. We forgot about that. Traveler is doing a D&D. They're doing a D&D 5e Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like one of those, like, if you can't get your players to go to that game, well, then the game will come to your players.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
I guess.
No, I mean, look, D&D Beyond is the biggest game around, and we actually said that way back when the OGL was happening. It's like, why are you guys trying to kill the OGL? Why don't you just embrace it and make everyone come to you? Which was sort of my kind of nightmare, because then they become gatekeeping.
Yeah,
and
like, honestly,
doing it.
the fact that they tried to kill the OGL first and then develop bad will, so now they're being nice with olive branches with D&D Beyond, and it sounds like they're giving good deals to people. But if they hadn't, and they just been nice all the time with the OGL, it's like, yeah, the OGL's still out there, do whatever you want.
No,
but if you come in with us with Beyond, we're gonna put more restrictions on you or whatever. There would have been much less of a backlash to that, because it was more of a carrot than a stick, and they probably could have gotten most of what they wanted by doing that.
I agree with Mark. 100%.
They would have been so far ahead. Who knows how many other VTTs? I don't know if we would have
Everyone
had.
would have still liked them,
Shadowdarks and all the others
still
around.
allowing them to do all of the goals that they were originally they had by doing the nasty thing with the OGL.
Well, but it's because they always because here's the problem, because they always go through this pattern, where they open things up. And they open up too much, and they give everything away for free. And then everybody else starts making a shitload of money using their IP and their platform. And then somebody at corporate, has a heart attack, and some, just some cocky, upstart new CEO or whatever is like, it's under-monetized. We need to regain control. Blah, 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 blah. And then they come in and they come out with a GSL. They try to tank the OGL, and they're like, we're going to bring it all in-house. We're going to control every aspect. Every dollar will be ours. And then the audience goes, fuck you, or they go, you know what? Turns out this isn't our core competency. We're not that great at it. And then they go, let's partner. How about we just get cents on the dollar and do nothing? And they go, yeah, that works. You make a lot of money. Yeah, you make a lot. It's like,
well, they were trying to do that. They were just getting greedy because they wanted cents on the dollar and everything.
Of course, they were getting. Yeah, they well. I mean,
but
the thing is, they don't know. Here's my problem.
If they take cents on the dollar for doing not very much, and the other people get to make more money on their platform.
Yeah, they don't have to take cents on the dollars. They can offer cents on the dollar, and people will take it, because cents on the dollar from D&D Beyond is worth more than every single thing that you're producing for an entire year.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what?
I mean, it's not like Traveler.
Depends.
It's not like Travelers competing for space at Barnes and Noble.
I think it depends, Derik. I think that D&D Beyond is very good, but I've heard from some people who are on D&D Beyond that it does well, but not necessarily as well as Steven or we sometimes talk about it as the holy grail that will suddenly shoot up all your sales.
It may not be the holy grail, but it's the best you're gonna get.
Oh yeah, it's definitely good. You want to be on it if you can.
I'll tell you that. Okay, it's becoming more and more so, and I'll tell you why. It's because drive-through has pretty much tanked with
our drive-through RPG.
Well, with
they seem to still be strong.
Wait, you're not letting me finish. With
you're not allowed to finish.
Okay, then I won't tell you. You'll never know. You'll never know what I'm about to say. No,
Good.
with DM's Guild, because DM Guild is being overrun by AI garbage, and so everywhere, and not just that, Amazon, everyone's getting run over by AI garbage, AI everywhere, and anywhere where it's not curated is now just becoming AI slop. And I don't mean like they can, it is appearing faster than they can delete it. Like that's how fast this stuff is appearing. And it's a real problem.
And then people are losing trust in the good stuff that are on this platform because they're like, how can I tell at first glance?
Not that I want to blame victims, but they would only keep putting that shit up there if people were buying it. So maybe people just shouldn't buy it.
It's not even that. It's just that it costs no,
it costs
actually,
so little
it costs
to make
nothing to put it up there. It doesn't cost nothing.
Derik, I think you may be misunderstanding the mind of most third-party publishers who actually are not trying to make money. So some of those people who are putting up the AI slop things maybe they just always dreamed of being on D&D or the DM's Guild and having something, but they also did not have enough ideas to write it themselves. And so they prompted it to an AI, which spewed out a document. They're like, yes, now I can go on. And they don't even care if it sells more than 5 copies or 0 copies.
No, I mean, that's the problem.
It's the same way that when you're not dealing with AI, that excuse me, that there can be issues with the fact that people will undersell their product for a losing amount of money just because they kind of want to be on there, and they're like, yay, I'm making something for the game that I love, and it can be a problem for people who are trying to make a living on it.
Yeah,
moratorium on all new products, no new RPGs ever again.
Well,
we all have enough.
That's why you get something like D&D Beyond or even Foundry or these others, because then they become trusted platforms. And that's more important than, these open platforms. Because these open platforms...
It's almost like gatekeeping is a good thing.
Well, one of our viewers...
kind of, in this case, it is.
One of our viewers works somewhere with the digital library where they're removing 300 AI books a day.
Yeah.
A day. Think about that. Like, figuring out for sure that they are AI, that sounds like it's going to take a decent amount of a person's time. Like, actually, you have to have their...
No, Mark, come on. They're using an AI to
remove them, but then that's not going to be able to find all the ones that are AI, and it may remove ones that aren't AI.
I think vetting is gatekeeping. I think vetting is a form of gatekeeping.
Look, I don't know. I mean, you needed gatekeeping. You see, there was gatekeeping before when there was limited opportunities, and then that was considered gatekeeping because it's like, okay, if there's only like bookstores and the only way you can get into bookstores is via gatekeeping, but now you can get in anywhere. Anyone can get anywhere. So gatekeeping is a very different term because it's
democratization of the masses. Publication will not be sheltered. Free speech everywhere.
It is free speech everywhere. And when everyone has free speech, then no one has free speech. It's just, you can't find anything.
It just depends, right? There are ways you could theoretically do it where you wouldn't have to pre-vet everything. Like if you pre-vetted a publisher's first book, and then you tell them if you ever put on AI, we will ban everything that you've done. And then you check and you're like, okay, this first one isn't AI. Yeah, sure, they could do that and then put out 100 AI after the first one. But once they get caught, they're going to lose all of them, including the first one. That they
it doesn't work because they make it doesn't matter.
And not that we're going down this rabbit hole, but there has been a lot of witch hunts where people be like, it's AI. And then the artist is like, fuck you. No, it's not AI. This is me painting the oil portrait. And they're like, that's AI of you. That's AI picture of you painting it. You didn't paint that. That's AI. Look at that one finger. The finger is slightly askew. And the person's like, yeah, I fucking suck at painting hands. I mean, like, what do you want from me?
I have literally seen that for a product where they were like, I don't know how I'm supposed to defend against this arbitrary claim that, and then they're wait, I was on stream with the artist as they were like live as they were drawing this map, and everyone saw them doing it, and it was like weeks ago, and so then they sent it, and because their thing got flagged, and it was on them the burden of proof to prove that it wasn't AI. One person flagged with no evidence.
Right.
Well, not only that,
there are issues.
It's
definitely guilty until proven innocent.
Well, not only that, half of those comments are AI. They are. I mean,
there was that report that said that like on the any sort of major social media platform, YouTube, Instagram, to whatever, like someone did this independent research, not not biased, nonpartisan. It was like 50% or more of the comments on the internet basically are from bots. 50%.
It used to be a high number even before they had fully functional Gen AI. I remember.
Which
and I'm sure it's
now-
even more now.
Which now they were talking about how so recently there's been so many big
AI.
Kickstarters that are doing millions and millions, and all these massive Kickstarters are, surprise, surprise, coming from YouTubers, because it's like, yeah, they are literally influencers in the actual sense of the word that it was originally supposed to define, is that these are people you know and quote can trust. Therefore, you will buy their stuff.
You know it's a real person.
Yeah.
You know it's not just some random thing.
Right.
Like, because you've seen them for years sometimes doing what they're doing. You understand what their artistic vision is as well.
Well, so I have two caveats to that. Well, one is I did get a comment not that long ago where someone said, I love watching you, Derik, because you only do live streams, whether it's on your channel or on RFC. And he goes, so I know that you're not even, you're not even using AI to write a script. Like, there is no script. You're just, you're just responding.
But everyone should know that Derik, you see here, this is actually a digital recreation.
Right.
Derik is actually like 4'6".
Yeah.
He weighs like 400 pounds.
Right. I'm a small Asian girl. This is actually a VTuber. I went in a slightly different direction.
Yes.
But the second thing is there was a gentleman who approached me a couple years ago, was working on a game and said, hey, I want to hire you. Full-time, part-time, you tell me. And I thought we were just having a conversation, and it turns out it was a job offer. And I said, don't you want to get to know me and interview me and whatever? He goes, dude, he's like, I've watched 2,000 hours of you. He's like, I know you better than any person I've ever hired in my life. In terms of who you are and what how you think and what your philosophy is and where your brain's at and how you think. And I was like, yeah, I guess that's kind of I guess that's a good point. I guess you do know who I am, good and bad, by the way. So yeah, it's interesting, but that's a good way to think about it. You can trust RFC, you could trust Bob World Builder, you could trust Baron de Rop, Professor Dungeon Master, et cetera, just because
you know them.
You know
what, especially if they.
Okay,
I mean,
you don't know them.
You don't know them beyond parasocially, but you know them beyond a name that is just written in a book somewhere.
Correct.
And especially if it's a live stream, you can see what they're like unscripted, just talking. Obviously, if you know what their scripted persona is, it's going to be a little bit different.
I'm just simply saying, I get it. You are meeting that person's representative. I would say that's probably not true for me. Unfortunately, you probably are meeting me. Again, both good and bad. But But I will say that at least you understand where they're coming from a gaming perspective. So at least you can be comfortable with that, and you understand what kind of product you're going to get. I think that's the reason Matt Colville was so successful, right? He built up that trust 100%. Over years. But also, a lot of people come to me and they say, Derik, I want to be published. What can I do? And I go, man, that's tough because how do you? It's like number of projects, 0 created, and you put your game out there. How do you make people notice you if you don't have this audience? And I always feel bad. Kelsey always gets the question, I want to make a game and I want to publish it and I want to be as successful as Shadowdark. What do I do? And, Kelsey says, build a community, spend years crafting a community, do a newsletter, do a live stream, do a whatever. And, get a Discord going and be active and participate and build up a thriving community bit by bit, nook by crook. And people go, no, that doesn't. I don't want to do that. They say I'd rather I want to sit alone by myself and make a masterpiece and then hit publish, and then have people recognize the skills and just buy it. And unfortunately, that's just not the way it works.
Not anymore. Yeah. It used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it was never really completely like that. There were a lot of people who made masterpieces and either languished forever in obscurity, or even it took until after their death for it to be found because they hadn't built a community, they hadn't created a platform.
True. Well, I mean, communities. That was actually the very first thing when we started Roll for Combat, and if you go back to those first videos that are painful to watch, of course, is think like the first or second week, Mark and I started doing this because I was like, this is how you're gonna get people and get people to keep coming back is through live
You need a
streams.
community. You can't just like it's wrong to think of our connection to the world around us and the people who are in it who care about us and our product as like from a corporate standpoint of just like these are just consumers or something like that. Like these are community members, and that's how you build a community.
Yeah. I mean, there actually is a secret way to cheat that. There's two ways to do it. You could do it the Kelsey way, or you could do it the way I did it. And that you hire Mark, or you hire someone who's like big in the industry, and then you cheat your way up a little. You start a little higher up.
It's funny that we're talking about this. I'm in a group chat, and I just saw a ping, and I just saw a word, and I had to open it. And there's a buddy of mine. He's a developer, and he is like, he hates AI. Like he won't even use it like to like help him like do unit testing or anything like that.
Man. Well, for unit testing, it's like a no-brainer. It's so good.
I know, correct. Anyway, so he's like it's completely anti, and I just saw a thing. It's apparently he's been kind of like fishing his resume around a little bit. He's happy where he's at, but he said apparently OpenAI is making him a stupid, ridiculous offer. He's like, I don't know.
Well, he's like,
that's really
I hate
funny.
AI. That's like, actually, I had a friend.
It's basically almost like a literal deal with the devil.
It really is. It really is.
Philip Morris used to be in Manhattan, and I worked with them, and I had a lot of friends who worked there. And let me tell you, they were paid a fortune to work for Philip Morris, making cigarettes. And, that's the thing. It's like, all right, I'm against making cigarettes. It's like, we will pay you 3 times more. Anyone else will pay you. It's like, ooh, and that's how they get away with it. I mean, that's how those companies do it. I hate to say it, and although I hated working there because you could, back then, you could smoke in the office. And actually, they left Manhattan because it's illegal, like vastly illegal. And then they went to the South. I don't know if you were allowed to smoke in the office. But I mean, back then in the 90s, you could smoke anywhere. And then in the 2000s, they started making it illegal everywhere. So anyhow, that's how all those companies work. That's why if you work for Disney, they pay you nothing because it's, quote, fun if you work for Disney. But as I always say, a job is a job. It's still, a job is still work. Is what I used to say. It's
always work, no matter how fun the company sounds like it is.
Although
there can be fun parts of it.
We work hard, but it is pretty fun. I will say.
I mean, technically, NightCon was for work, and I had a blast. So,
right. But it was still work. I mean, you were still running around, and you were, I'm sure, tired.
I'm sure it's even though it was really fun, it took a good amount of mental bandwidth to make sure that it happened.
Yeah, fun doesn't pay the bills. Yeah,
but I also, though, I'm weird. Like, it's part of what I'm learning is probably my ADHD. I have like this inattentive, structured ADHD. Whereas like I'm never like, oh, I can't wait till I'm done with the work so I can just, waste time playing video games. Well, I don't play video games. I don't watch TV shows. You know what I mean? Like I like being engaged with projects and doing stuff and like being kind of like on, so to speak. I don't like, relaxing in a certain sense. Yeah,
that's this year. You like who you're talking to. I mean,
I know. I'm
like
just saying.
we are both exact. I think
even
like
in
that.
the king of never stopping.
I know. We all have the same dilemma, and we should probably all be on like Ritalin or something. But yeah,
I know. But the thing is, if you enjoy it, it's not bad now, is it? I mean, people say, "Oh, work is bad." I'm like, yeah, but if I enjoy it, is it bad? And I'm like, whoa, you should be doing something else. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to do something else. Like you say, you don't play video games or watch TV. It's like, well, quote, you should be. Okay, I got a story.
Right. You should relax.
Wait,
right?
I got a Steven story. I don't think anyone's heard this one. I got a new one.
Yeah,
new Steven story. So
let's hear it.
When I graduated college and I moved into the city by myself. Because only things I read were like, science fiction, fantasy books, and that's it. And I was like, you know what? I should read the classics. I should read. I mean, I read classics in high school and college, but once I graduated, I'm like, there's no reason for me to. So I started to read, quote, serious books, like the books you should be reading. And I was like, and I did that for like a year, and I was miserable. And I'm like, man, I know I should, like, these books are supposed to be good. They're supposed to be like, these are supposed to be classics and great. And I'm reading them and I hate them. And then I literally picked up, I couldn't take it anymore. I picked up David Eddings' The Belgariad, the first book, which is total schlock, but it's so fucking good. And I just started to read it, and I swear to God, it was like an explosion of happiness. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better than this garbage. And I threw all those books away and I read like half that book in one night. And I'm like, I will never go back to doing that again. And I learned, like, just do whatever the hell you want, man. It's like, okay, what you quote should be doing is, there's no should be doing,
Love what you love. Don't let other people tell you it's wrong.
Exactly. And that's why I was like, I don't care. But I did that. I did that for a full year. I remember that, like, vividly. And now
that is a remarkably long time to be.
I was trying.
Yeah, to make that attempt, given how miserable you were reading those
books. It
books.
wasn't all bad, but I remember one. I don't remember what I was reading, but it was something, like maybe. Actually, I do like Great Expectations. Maybe it was like War and Peace or something. And I was just like, oh, and I couldn't get through it. I was just like, I cannot get through this. Meanwhile, you know what I picked up, Derik, to freshly read, because I've not read it, I think, since high school.
Lord of the Rings.
That's right. Lord of the Rings. I just finished my 16-book epic saga of the Elderling Cycle, which was like one of the greatest series I ever read. I just finished book 8 of Dungeon Carl. So I was like, I need to find something new to read. And then I was thinking, and I got all this. I just got this. And I said, you know what I haven't read in like 30 years? It's like Lord of the Rings. So I'm like, you know what? And it's on Amazon. I have the Kindle. So the subscription. Good. So it's free. So I was like, all right, I downloaded it, and I'm going to start it. So
it's so good. I expect to see you come around to my way.
Actually, well, that's right. I was like, actually influenced. I was like, you know what? I need to connect more with Derik. I need to read the Lord of the Rings. So you and I have something to talk about at Gen Con.
No, but you actually have to read the Silmarillion carefully if you want to connect with Derik.
I got to go in order. I'm not going to reread. I'm probably not going to reread The Hobbit, but
yes, right. So there's like kindergarten level Derik is like Hobbit, right? And then like primary school is like Lord of the Rings, and then like graduate school is like Silmarillion, and then like postdoc work is like reading his letters.
There you go. But apparently there's like a rare Swedish version of The Hobbit that has like the artist of Moomin drew, and they just recently released an English translation of that for the first time.
I had it. I read that today, and I was like, "Can I buy it? Is that already available?" Because that does seem like really.
I saw it, and I was like, "I need to tell Derik that next time I see him, because that sounds like something that he would like."
So by the way, it says here someone's rereading Conan, and it's awesome. I actually have read probably about 100 Conan books. I actually read all the books before the movie. I read a lot of books before the movie came out, because I was so excited to see Conan the Barbarian in the movie theater. And I will tell you, if you're going to read the Conan books, what's his name? Robert. Who wrote the Conan? Robert Howard.
Robert E. Howard, usually.
No, not Robert A. Howard.
Robert Jordan.
Robert Jordan, author of The Wheel of Time, also
dude, you were
wrote
so
the Conan
fucking
Chronicles.
in my head all the time. It is scary how much Derik and I think alike.
I was also thinking about that.
Well, Robert Jordan wrote the Conan the Barbarian novelization.
Right, yes. And not only that, he wrote 7 Conan books.
Yeah, he wrote some Conan Chronicles, even though Robert Howard was the original.
Right.
Author.
And his books,
they're amazing. They're the best Conan books.
Absolutely incredibly good.
They are so the best.
Good.
They are the best Conan the Barbarian. I'm a bit of a pariah.
Close.
Because I love Conan the Barbarian. Good. And in fact, I was actually talking with Goodman Games at Origins, because they have their like spinning rack where they have all the classic like Appendix N stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I always take a look. I said, I bought a couple Conan novels from you guys before that I didn't have. And I'm like, I've for years I've collected like the Tor Fantasy, right? Like the trade paperbacks, which mostly from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Mm-hmm. And I said, but I'm a bit of a pariah because I don't like the whatchamacallit, I don't like the Robert E. Howard books. Like I know that's crazy, but I actually like, Elsprog de Camp and Robert Jordan and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Now I see Ben is in chat, and I tend to agree with Ben. Ben, I thought Conan the Barbarian, the novel, was written by Robert Jordan.
Well, Robert Jordan. So if you read Conan the Destroyer, which is obviously that movie, that is probably the best Conan book I've ever read.
You know what?
It is.
It looks like Robert Jordan's Conans are Conan the Invincible, Conan the Defender, Conan the Unconquered.
He wrote The Destroyer.
He did write The Destroyer.
Okay,
and The Destroyer, that's what I just said. The Destroyer. When I read that book, I can see why they turned it into a movie, because I'm like, this is the best Conan book I have ever read. Right. And I was like, oh yeah, turn this into a movie. The problem is, in the Conan book, it is hard R, and Conan the Destroyer is PG-13, and that's pretty much
so. A couple of things. Number one, on our Patreon, in our Discord, there's a big sticker that says "Shit, Ben was correct," or Ben is correct. So shit, Ben is correct. Ben checks out. 2, Ben, that's awesome that you hung out with Jace this weekend in NYC. That's cool. 3, we always used to joke that Wheel of Time was Robert Jordan apologizing for the hard rated R of his Conan novels, because they are so very graphic, and they are very they're
so good.
They're very Conan, but I love.
I think he almost literally was apologizing for it, because apparently in a 2003 interview he said that it was fun writing something completely over the top, full of purple prose. In a weak moment, I agreed to do 5 more in the novelization of the second Conan movie.
Yeah.
But after he did the first one,
well, if you like Conan, I will say you're gonna like Deathbringer, because that's what Professor told me. He's like Conan. He's like, he loves Conan. He even
told me that even more than Conan, there are parodies of Conan that are out there. There was a cartoon parody of Conan that was on Adult Swim on a trailer or something like that. And he's like, the Deathbringer vibe is these parody over the top that even just go beyond Conan for ridiculousness. He's always parodying things and going to extremes on it.
That's
and it's pretty interesting.
That's why the art looks like that, because we're actually mimicking Conan art. When I send it to the artist, I literally send them Conan art. I say, this is what it should look like. And they go, okay. And they love it, actually. They love it. So. Now,
I will say that, I don't hate Robert E. Howard Conan. I prefer the more, I think, I don't know, the derivatives, I think, are just a little bit more pulpy. But that being said, there is a quote from Robert E. Howard, which is how when he first envisioned the word, or when he first envisioned Conan the Cimmerian, and it's a great quote where he was he talked about how he originally envisaged it, and it's titled it's like the creation of Conan as seen. And it's as seen as a late evening above the hills of Fredericksburg under a curtain of silver rain. It's one of the coolest, one of the coolest quotes ever, when he's originally sort of writing about what it, his vision of Conan. Anyways, point is, I love Conan novels. I think they're great. I think they're amazing. Wolfenstead, I also love the 90s Conan cartoon. In fact, I would argue that that's probably where I was originally introduced to Conan. This is where he all the bad guys were, of course, evil spirits, and you just bop them on the head with your sword, and they would That
was definitely my first thing. It's he was trying to undo a spell of living stone cast on his family, because they couldn't just kill them. It was the cartoon for kids.
Of course, correct.
By vanquishing the evil sorcerer Rathamon.
Right. And to be clear, that's kind of the vibe I want to go for when we talk about Shadow Tide, right? Our theoretical Shadowdark pirate hack, is I want that Saturday morning cartoon vibe, right? Where it's oh no, they've been the spell of living crystal. They've been turned to crystal. We must save them.
They've been turned into sea salt.
Yes, right.
They might dissolve in the ocean if we take too long.
Yeah, but
yeah. So actually, by the way, one other thing, my favorite comic is Gru the Barbarian, Gru the Wanderer, and Gru is literally a madcap version of Conan, and there actually is Gru versus Conan, and Gru is the goofy version. If anyone knows who Gru is, the only one here who knows what Gru is. Gru is Look up Gru the Wanderer. He's really funny. It's
you
actually
mentioned it before on this show, and that's the only reason I know.
well, it's by what's his name from Mad Magazine, and it is literally a goofy version of Conan. But there's like 300 copies of the. It's still around. He's still doing it actually. Yeah, by Argonis. It is. Oh, it's so good. But he is the fastest drawer in history. Like he is the fastest cartoonist. I think he is the world record. And if you open up, he always has like a single panel and then a 2-page spread. And there's more on that 2-page spread on his cartoons than like entire comic books. And all of his books are like this. And it's insane. It's like it's just so much detail. You can just sit there looking at it for hours. It's
wait, is the person who did Gru Sekar Jitdash?
Sergio Argonis.
Because
Yes.
there's an Indian cartoonist named Sekar Jitdash who is apparently the father of speed cartooning and is known as the fastest performing cartoonist.
Yeah, okay. They might be
because he sketched 50 celebrity caricatures within under 5 minutes.
Could be. But Sergio, if you look at it, and it's funny because they're all done by 3 people. It's like Mark Evner, he writes them, Sergio draws them, and then there's one other guy who inks them. And every issue was always like the inker complaining. it's like do you know what a pain in the ass it was to ink this cartoon? Like every month he's like, it's like you put too much detail in this. I gotta that's like every cartoon. It's the same. It's like Mark writing about how awesome it is to write these stories. Sergio, he doesn't say anything because he's the artist, but then the inker complaining. That's it. That's all it was.
Jim, we did talk a little bit about Traveler 5e on Backer Kid as well. I mean, again, we just, we've said like if you can't beat them, you join them. I mean, I mean, yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, like D&D is just this megalopolis. It's tough. It's tough to get away from it. And if they're willing to, I guess the real issue now. Somebody did say, is it in the Ravenloft book? No. Yes. No.
What?
I don't watch anything from 5e, but like somebody, probably Bob, World Builder, I don't know, somebody who talks about 5e, whatever, everybody, I guess, was saying that like apparently they put in what is the equivalent mark of like the rare trait on like feats now or something.
Oh, I did see some things where in the new one,
like
I was going to talk about that if we had them there, where it's like you need to be in
this is what
in a
they do.
Ravenloft campaign as a prerequisite.
They
Which
did that on
apparently
purpose. Actually, that a lot of people that's actually a good thing because they put feats in here in their books that were quote rare, and they said the biggest problem with it is that the rarity was usually like somewhere in the world, or like, oh, you're in a mountain setting, or you're like in a jungle setting, rare jungle setting only. And then like, oh, well, we're going to go to a jungle in 1% of the adventure, so therefore I can use it. And it was driving DMs crazy. And instead, now they have it that instead of it being a setting, it's literally a campaign. So like, if you're not doing this campaign, you cannot take those feats. And it's gotten a lot of good buzz because the GMs are like, thank God, because people were abusing it as they do.
There were just a lot where there was it was Wild West, and you could just grab something that was meant for one specific thing and optimize it with something else that was for some other thing. That's why we had uncommon and rare. In Pathfinder is to limit some of the more out there options and just put a pause, not to say no immediately, but just so GMs and players paused and players didn't just immediately assume, yes, I can have everything that has ever been published.
Right. It's easier. I mean, I know it's easy to say. GMs could just say no. And yes,
it's easy to say that,
but it's easy to say that, but it's also a lot better from a conversational. And remember, shocker, this is going to be a huge spoiler alert to most of you. I know, because I understand who you are in your lives. Most people who play these games are like, we're all socially inept nerds. So like most GMs don't like having to be in a position of authority or having to tell people no or dream crush. And so it's a lot easier to sort of tee up that conversation by saying, by default, this isn't allowed. And then, it's easier to say, well, I don't think that's going to be right for our campaign when they have to explicitly ask you for permission and then you could say no, as opposed to somebody showing up to your campaign and they've got this character who's got 2 feet from Ravenloft, 1 feet from Star Trek or Traveler, another feet from, I don't know, Gummy Bears. And and
you
now
don't figure it out until halfway through the first session when they were like, wait, did you just bounce off the roof and then use the set phasers to stun feed?
To be clear, you could be talking about Magic the Gathering, where you could have Spider-Man wielding Andorel, Flame of the West, and captaining the USS Enterprise.
You could
and that
definitely
would be,
do that.
Not only would that be legal, that would actually be standard legal.
Yeah. But so the way I like to put this is that in the relationship between the players, the GM, and the game system, if you think of it almost like a family that's trying to get somewhere, and the players are the kids, and the 2 parents are like the game system and the GM. I, as a game designer, think that we want the GM to get to be the cool parent as much as possible, and the game system should be the strict parent as much as possible, so that that way the person who's actually there and has to talk and deal with people in real life is the one who everyone likes. And if people kind of get annoyed, they get annoyed at this game system, which is not going to feel anything. Maybe I will if you come and say the designers get mad at the designers for it, right? And so, whereas 5e, and I'm glad that 5.5 is moving away from this to some extent, but 5e is of the other opinion somewhat, was like, let's have the system be the cool parent. And then if there's any problems, the GM can be the strict one and put in limitations. And as a result, it definitely can make people feel good about the system, but
better for
if they're players. But
you're like, oh, I bought this book so I could take it.
It's like I bought Strixhaven so I could use Silvery Barbs, one of the most broken spells in 5.0 history. And and then the GM is well, you're not in Strixhaven though, so I kind of don't want you to use Silvery Barbs. They'd be like, well, where did it say that? It just says Silvery Barbs. I can, as a reaction, ruin this other person and give myself huge bonuses.
Man, I would make so many 5e players cry. It wouldn't even be funny. Like when I hear these stories, I on Reddit and stuff, I'm always just like, I would just yell at them and tell them to leave and never come back. And then people are like, well, then I wouldn't have any players. And I go, good. I'm like, why do you need players? Go play a solo game.
Solo games suck.
They do, but I mean, you didn't hear that from me. But I don't like solo games personally. But I
don't like them because I don't know. I need interaction. I mean,
yeah, I want the interaction. I mean, they're fun. So anyway,
sometimes it can happen.
It can. I thought that was good. I thought that was a good choice from them. But also too, it speaks to somebody recently in my Patreon was like, man. For the first time ever, I had people make their character in person, or not. I don't know if they were literally in person, but basically they had a session 0. And he's like, I've never had a campaign before where people didn't just show up with their characters all fully already made. And again, that was shocking to me. And it just shows how out of touch I am with everyone and everything, because I've never played D&D where people ever even going back to AD&D or 3rd edition, 2nd edition, where people just showed up with a character already complete and they sat down, they're ready to play. Even if we were rolling dice to make a character, obviously you had to do that in person. You got to gloat if you rolled really well, or you got to, commiserate or bitch if you rolled really badly. It was always a group activity done in person. And, you had to have the GM watch your rolls to see that approve. And I get that we don't have
interesting, Derek. I had the same experience as you for a completely different reason.
Okay.
Because our group has had many times where sometimes the GM has sent 12 messages to tell everyone, please come to the session with your character already completed. But I've also never had a session ever, a new campaign where every player has had their character completed. Not because everyone's like, no, it's a group thing, we're always going to do it right in front of each other, but simply because no GM I've ever seen, including myself, could ever actually get all of the players to listen to the idea of please do some of this on your own time. There's always at least one who has to do it during the session. So there was a super chat here from
Dungeon
it's
Daddy.
getting cut off.
I put it up.
It's Dungeon Dad. It looks like it
Dungeon
says
Daddy 74.
Dungeon Daddy 74. Okay, see, it got cut off after Dungeon Dad. I was like, this doesn't look like it's actually like the Dungeon Dad. And it says, do you think OSR is gaining popularity because it's much more modular and can fit with other systems like Shadowdark and Pirate Borg and OSE? And WotC is trying to Fortnite 5e with IP compatibility.
It's hard to say. I mean, there is definitely, I mean, at the risk of sounding like a hipster myself, OSR is gaining popularity because that's the hipster thing to do. I mean, like you know, I'm cool. You play 5e? Yeah, we grew beyond that. You're so mainstream. Let me tell you about this weird indie game last week where we played inside of a dead god's skull, and the walls were dripping with blood, and they were carved with graven runes, tons of pentagrams. You wouldn't understand. Like it's the hipster cool kids. I mean, OSR is to D&D as D&D was to Monopoly in the 70s, you know, in the 80s. Oh, what are you guys playing? Battleship, Candyland? Those are for kids. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons, Satan's game, you know? So yeah,
I think it's that, and I think it's a combination. I don't know.
I mean, I'm saying that, by the way, as a hipster, like as someone who is
Well, here's the
definitely
thing.
espoused heavily.
When I played Shadowdark for the first time, and I played it, I sat down cold and played it actually at a convention, and I felt like I was playing modern D&D first edition. That's what I always describe it as. It's basically first edition D&D with modern rule sets and ideas. It's dangerous, it's fun, it's kooky, it's crazy, it's a little loose, and I'm like, yeah, it felt just like D&D when I was a kid, which is a huge compliment. And I was like, and I think that's what happened, is that people have been playing D&D, and D&D 5.5 and 5.0 is really, really, really balanced and really, really tight, and it is very hard to get off the rails in D&D.
Really?
Yes, in the sense that
Compared to OS,
I didn't say it was balanced. I just say
compared
it's
to
tight.
OSE.
Compared to OSR.
Compared to OSE.
I mean, compare that to a game that games that don't literally even have a CR system.
Yeah. I'm talking about comparatively, it is.
I'm going to claim that in some ways, games that don't even have a CR system are still equally or more balanced than third edition.
Yeah, but think about this. It's impossible. Like combat.
I love third edition.
You can't die in 5.5. It is very hard to die in 5.5. You're not doing that much damage. Like you can't die in one hit. It's very hard. Like it doesn't
sound like a game that's balanced. And I don't actually agree with you about that, Steven.
Okay, maybe not balanced.
Even if it was true, that sounds like a game that isn't balanced.
Okay, fine. Then balance is not the right word. The word I'd use is that it's very easy and safe.
Okay. Well, no, actually, I will take a step back from that. I think the other side of the coin of the OSR is that they are understanding that a lot of people are, lazy, and OSR games are easy. Here's your character sheet. It has
they
four
are
things.
easy.
Oh, sorry. Easy in terms of winning versus easy to get into.
Yeah.
You're right there.
They're easy, they're dangerous, and you know what? People forgot, like, ooh, I can die. Like, it's like, wow, I got to really pay attention. And things are like I played when I was at Page, I was running Shadowdark games, and there was this one guy, and he made it. We're playing a 4-hour campaign, and people were dying left and right, and this one guy made it all the way to the very last room while they were leaving the dungeon, and then he died, and he was like, oh, he was like so close, and he's like, oh my god, he loved it. He was like, this is fantastic. And I was like, really? He goes, yes. He was like, because it was just stressful, and he had fun, and it was like,
I had a follow-up about the character building thing in another super chat, so I want to get it before we go too far past it, which is most of that group activity happens in the chat now. The roles are logged, so when it's actually time to play, I want people to have the sheet filled out. That is what they said. That was back true. On the topic of the sheets.
And I have it up here, most group activities chat. Well, this is what happens to my games. I tell everyone, bring your character, before you have 3 weeks to make your character, and everyone's like, okay. And then I'm like, you have 2 weeks to make your character. Okay, you got 1 week to make your character. Okay, tomorrow we're playing. Make sure you got your character. I didn't get anyone's characters yet. Okay. And then I show up and they're like, 4 of you. How many of you made your character? 1 of you. I'm like, well, I'm making it now. And I'm like, okay, make your character now, and then we'll play next week.
You guys need better players, man.
They're so bad at that crap. And then I'm like, and then we end up literally playing next week because you guys suck.
So let me give you this example. So we're playing Fabula Ultima in Foundry, and it's it's very JRPG inspired, right? I have a bunch of assets that I paid for from craftpix.net, and also throw some AI slop in there for like pixel art, or use some sprites from like we're using sprites from Final Fantasy, right? We're stealing from AI, but we're also stealing the good old fashioned way, right, where you just take the images from the internet and just copy them wholesale. So we've got like sprites from Final Fantasy 4 for monsters and stuff. Anyways, I recently added like some of the animation modules and sequencers so that when you make an attack or whatever, something cool happens, and like if you use your shadow strike ability, darkness surrounds you. And I added a couple, and then my players were like, Derik, can you make us all co-GM so that we can sign into your Foundry game offline and then custom build sequencer animations for all of our different abilities on our own without you having to build them for us? And I was like, okay. So my players are sitting there and they're like coding JavaScript and macros for their characters' animations because they're like, I want to take control of this. I want to do this. Then someone's like, I think I might just make a module for our campaign that you can attach to it. So yeah, I have very active players, so I've never really had
That's awesome.
But I was going to say, about the OSR thing is the other thing that I think is though different between the two groups is, which is talking about, it's fun to die and it's fun to do this. I think the problem though is that because if you look at the OSR and you look at what's become very popular, it is what we used to call the one-page dungeon contest, right? Which started however many years ago, mostly out of the OSR, and it was the idea of put an entire dungeon on one page, but like there's no key, right? The key is the page. Like it's all literally on one page. And that obviously has certain limitations, which is to say it's not that long and it's not that deep. I think a lot of OSR games are not campaigns in the traditional sense. They are a lot of one shots, or what we might call a multi-shot or a many shot, a 3-shot, a 5-shot. Hey guys, I bought this latest zine. We're going to run this for the next couple of weeks. Everybody makes characters, and you understand that there's an expiration date, that there is no tomorrow for your character. There is no future horizon. And that leads to a certain style of play where, you're a little bit more driving it like you stole it. You're a little bit more like, fuck it, we ball. You're a little bit more like, I don't care if I get killed. Now, the other style of play is very much like, my character is special. Here are the major story arcs that I want to hit. Here is the character development growth arcs that I want to hit. And thus, in those worlds, dying is exceptionally problematic because I didn't get to complete my story. Now, the problem, as I see it with 5th edition, is that I think a lot of people play 5th edition for that latter style of campaign. But 5th edition, very much by its rules and its explicit premise, can and does allow characters to die, which is where I think you run into this weird problem where the game has to, there's this expectation that the game is somehow both challenging, but will also never kill you. And that's like a really tough thing. So when people say that 5th edition isn't well balanced, I kind of mean like, when you say that, what do you actually mean? Because like, I think what people are saying is, I want to be able to throw monsters at the party and have them almost die, but never actually kill them. But 5th edition obviously hasn't gone as far as, say, Daggerheart or Fabula Ultima, where players, if they are reduced to 0 hit points, can choose to surrender or avoid death. Those games are very explicit that this is about stories and character arcs, and you'll die when you're good and ready. And you don't have to worry as much about balance because the GM can't kill you. You can only die when you think it's the right time for your character to die. It's a cool moment for your character to die. So I wonder how the perception of OSR would be different if people were actually using OSR to run what I would call real campaigns. Like, that is to say, hey guys, we're going to be playing this game for the next 2 years. And I wonder if the endless, parade of funneled characters that get, ha 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 ha, that character died. He fell into the acid. Oh, that was awesome. Yeah. Roll up a new character. Oh, okay. That character got exploded with the curse triggered and their body exploded. Oh, your armor also explodes and kills the character next to you. Oh, that was awesome too.
So I'm going to reverse that question on you, Derik.
Okay.
You call the 2-year plus ones real campaigns, but also say that the OSR is exploding while not doing that.
Yeah.
Do you think that might mean that actually what most people want is not the Derik style real campaign, but instead these short form, quicker things?
Yeah, I think what most people want is the 6-episode season on Netflix, right? They don't want 7 seasons of 23 episodes. It's going to take me, a couple of months to grind through it. They want something where they're like, I want to sit down on a Saturday morning and be finished with the entire show by Saturday night. And I want to be able to just experience the whole thing, and it's one, and it's done, and then we did a thing, and then it's over, and then on to the next thing. It's a combination of both. I don't have any more time anymore because I'm a grown ass person, and also my attention span has been destroyed and killed by TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube, and Shorts or whatever, and all that combined, for sure.
Well, whatever the reason, God bless it, because well, I think because
if you enjoy it. Fucking do
the average number of games is 7 sessions. So
right.
If you're only playing 7 sessions or less, then you don't need to play it 2. No one's playing.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
People are not playing 2-year games anymore. It just does.
You're absolutely right. But
no one does.
But
very rare.
Daddy get another super chat.
I know.
I agree, Derik. I think there's an emphasis on story in 5e. Part of it is for actual play phenomena. Part of it is system 2. But honestly, I want to play episodic arcs, not 3 years.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with every part of that comment. From there, I think there is an implied emphasis on story that isn't really necessarily supported by the rules. I do think it is part of the actual play phenomenon, but I think, again, part of it is the system. But I also agree with you. I would rather see, episodic arcs, not 3-year campaigns. Now, like the way that I've sort of described a lot of my games is as seasons, which is to say, hey, we're going to play, like, let's say I'm playing Avatar. Okay, we're going to make Avatar characters. We're going to play Avatar characters. And after 6 to 8 or 10 episodes or sessions, that season is done. And those stories are completed. And we might take a break. And we might come back. And we might come back and play those same characters again. But maybe a new character joins the cast, right? Maybe Max joins the cast, maybe Robin joins the cast. Maybe somebody else got cut in the off season. Maybe time has passed. Hey, at the end of that 8 to 10 episode, like if we never played another session of this Avatar game, everyone will say that was a really satisfying conclusion. And we'll pick it up next time and we'll be like, it's 2 years later. The characters were freshmen in high school and now they're juniors and we're catching back up with them and new characters have entered in their lives and a new threat is arriving. And yes, there's a through line. There's like a somewhat of a continuity, but it's not literally like you kill the villain and then you find its journal and the villain, the next adventure starts tomorrow. There's more of a time skip, more of a time gap. Yeah.
Well, all I'm saying is, I think people like it's simple. It's simple. You can pick it up. You can literally sit down and say, I don't know how to play this and I need a character. And you're like, no problem. Here's your character. You can literally just give them a pre-made character or go to a website, press a button and it makes one for them and say, here you go. You'll figure it out while we play. And that's Shadowdark. Shadowdark is totally that. And a lot of these newer ones are like that too. As opposed to D&D, which is a lot of onus is on the DM. It's like there's a lot, especially each class plays differently. There's different rules for each class. And then forget about Pathfinder. Someone made that game way too complex. I mean, I love it, but let me tell you, that's a lot of rules there.
Let me just say something really quick. Having just played, I don't even know what, 10 or 12 hours of Arcs Blighted Reach with Steven this weekend.
Blighted Reach?
Okay.
We were joking about this, Mark.
It's a baby's game compared to Arcs.
We were joking about this. We played Blighted Arcs, Mark, and we're like, it was like the most complex
you were going to tell me about how
Pathfinder
it turned
2nd
out.
edition game. is a joke compared to what we were doing. I was like, oh my god, this is so hard.
This is so. There was
no
so
wonder
much,
the publisher
much
told
crunchy,
the designer
so
we're not
much.
doing this
Oh,
for
forget
the
it.
base
Forget it.
game.
Oh,
It will
Steven, can
melt.
you imagine if that was the bar? Can you imagine if that was the only version of Arcs?
People's brains, I mean, we're playing it and enjoying it, and even we're just like, our brains are melting.
But it was awesome, and it's
incredibly
I mean,
good.
as I described to it. Okay, there was 3 separate, different political entities. Okay, to which the Venn diagram, no one person was in all 3 of the same political entities. Like Steven and I were both in the Empire, but Bob and Trevor were not. Bob, Steven, and I were all in the Commonwealth, but Trevor was not. But Bob was a vassal of one of 2 of Stephen's fiefdoms. So we had both a feudal vassal system, a communal commonwealth system, and a sort of fascist imperial system. And each one had their own rules for political.
Wait, how could some people be in both the Empire and the Commonwealth while other people were in only one or the other?
Well, because you became an outlaw to the Empire, but you were a member of the Commonwealth. But in my case, I respected the Commonwealth, and I was a part of their unity, but I was also a member of the Empire.
You get
but
a
that's
card,
also because,
and it basically tells you your status with that faction. And
I see. So
and-
he was basically like paying taxes for both sides, and
no, he wasn't paying
wait,
taxes.
okay, you literally pay taxes.
I was paying taxes.
Because I collected taxes.
And
Steve,
Derik was
I
in
was the first
charge.
regent. I was the first regent. Stephen quite literally had to pay taxes to my empire.
Every fucking turn.
And then Bob tried to attack me, and then Stephen had to remind him that he had declared an armistice.
I declared armistice. No one
only
can attack anyone.
No. Only
Within
people in the Commonwealth. Within
right.
the Commonwealth.
Because
So-
what's his name was a pirate, and he was going around killing everyone or attacking me. And then he
mostly
learned his
attacking you.
lesson because I also had robot golems that had the ability, if you controlled them, which are very hard to control, but I had special abilities, and that I could blow up all of his ships, which I did.
So he paid, the pirate
and then
paid
he's
for
like,
it. So
okay, peace, truce. After I wipe half of his army off the board with my golem insane army, and this is one game. Like we're like barely scratching the surface how complex this game was.
It's crazy. Yes, you're forgetting about the part where my character was a priest who wanted to spread his faith, and then when people rejected it, he said, "Okay, I'm building a Death Star."
And now Derik went around the Empire finding pieces for his floating Death Star, and then he threatened to blow up my planet, but he and I came to an understanding because I call council meetings, and he and I deal in these council meetings, and then he instead went next door and blew up Bob's planet instead.
Correct.
So did you convert to
his eyes?
Steven, did you convert to his religion?
No, I gave up on my religion after game 1 because it failed. So, but here's the crazy part: the religion cards, the faithful cards, are still in the deck, and they still are very powerful. But no one controls the religion now; it's just spreading on its own. And so it's kind of like this. It's kind of like Steven's golems. He also changed, so the golems are still in the game, but now they're wild cards, and they occasionally malfunction because there's no one there to caretake them. Anyways, point is, it's an extremely.
It sounds extremely complicated.
Wait. There's literally a book. It's like a fold-out book. It's like a fold-out, like it's a billfold, and it folds out to like 8 things. And every time new people enter the game or new things enter the game, you add to it. And it's called the Book of Law. And so you're literally adding new rules text to the game as the game goes on. And by the end of our game, there was like 13 cards worth of additional rules text that had been added to just this game of Arcs.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you still got to freaking win the game.
Right.
This is just how to play it. And then to win, although, oh man, if I didn't make that one mistake, I would have won all 3.
Right, and you would have had a shitload
ambitions.
of power because you had.
I would have had just an absolute shitload.
Anyways.
I did go from 0 to first because I screwed up the first game.
Tied for first.
No,
Tied for
his
first.
points don't really matter anymore. He's not going for
true.
points.
That's true. His
So
points don't
I
matter.
basically
he
am at first.
He can still technically win on points.
He's
just
not
saying,
going to win on points. He's not going to win on points.
Anyways,
Steven,
but-
sure.
yes. But
Well,
anyways,
no, because he went rogue.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. He went rogue, and now he has a new task to blow up.
So
the
basically,
universe.
Trevor started off as the Imperial Regent who was trying to tax everybody and keep the Empire together. Nobody paid their tax in the first game, and so the Empire collapsed, and he became a pirate.
It totally collapsed.
And he became, totally collapsed. I kind of brought it back, but
no,
it
but
totally
then you brought
collapsed.
it back. You brought it back to its full and absolute dominating power. It is
Correct.
It is a vast empire in the universe now.
So he became a pirate, and the way we themed it was that since he couldn't collect tax, he was just going to take tax. So he kind of became like he became
a pirate.
He became a privateer.
He was a privateer, right? And then he was taxing. He was taking over me. He was attacking me, and then I taught him a lesson.
Yeah, so by the end of that arc, though, he kind of had a 180, and he realized that all this materialism was was bad. And so now in the third act, he's
basically trying to take over your religion now.
No, he's an eco terrorist.
He's an eco terrorist
now. He doesn't think anyone should be taxing any of the resources like fuel and materials. He wants to keep all of those planets safe.
Take over all.
Yeah, he's trying
planets.
to control all of the oil and all the materials, the raw materials.
And if he does, he wins.
If he does that,
he has a
wins.
new win condition that came out of nowhere.
He gets his own asymmetric win condition that none of the rest of us have.
Yep.
And so if he completes his eco-terrorist mission, he wins regardless of points.
Yep.
Anyways. So now he's like this big X factor, while the rest of us are still technically trying to compete on points. He is off doing his eco-terrorism thing. And it's really complicated because Steven and I are both members of the Empire and members of the Commonwealth. So we can only oppose each other in a very like when mom and dad aren't watching kind of way.
But
so
I have
both have to decide in a prisoner's dilemma how many resources you will put in to stop the eco-terrorism from winning.
There's still the wild card because there's the alien fungus that is taking over the universe. And there was a whole sector that was lost to the alien fungus. And we have designated that sector as Kill Alpha, where Derik is going to go and blow up all those planets.
Right. Yes. We also skipped the part where there's like a fungal Borg that exists in the game that is spreading throughout the system.
Is the eco-terrorist pro-fungal Borg?
No, but there is
I actually got that, but I didn't take it.
Stephen could have been the blight is our friend.
We
should embrace it and spread it over the entire realm. But we didn't get that one. Anyway, TLDR. There are layers within layers within layers within layers. It's a very.
And this was only 2 games, and there's now we have to still finish.
I thought it was 3 games.
No, it is. We didn't even finish. We only played 2. We couldn't even get to the 3rd.
Yeah, so I took a bunch of pictures. We're going to recreate it on TTS, and then we're going to go.
This game, a little complex.
Yeah. So the point is, OSR games are not that.
Just a little.
Yes, they are different.
They are very different than that. Like when you level up. No offense, but like. When you level, I've seen it happen in almost every Pathfinder 2 game I've gotten, where at a certain point in the campaign, this, by the way, even happens in like Northern Reaches, our mega game, where like people will get to a certain point in the campaign and they'll level up and they'll be like, yeah, I didn't even take a feat. Like they're like, I got enough. Like it's too much. I don't need a skill feat or whatever. It's like, I don't even know. When you level up in Shadowdark, you roll on D12 or D10, I don't remember which one it is, and you look at the chart and you're like, oh, +1 to hit. And then
I think it's 2d6, so it's multiple d6s, so you're less likely to get the ones on the extrema.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, oh, I got +1 to hit with missile weapons. Cool. That's it. There's no choice. It's just random. You roll that and your hit points, moving on. So there's like there's no level of brain racking, no path building, no decision making.
Sometimes there's rarely a thing where it's like pick this or that when you roll it, but
But even then, it's decided randomly. So, for people who don't want to do that, now granted, there are people who like building characters. They like creating, whether it's for a immersionist play acting point of view or just from like a gamist, I want to make my cool character, and those games are good for them. But I would argue OSR games are not good for people who want to do that.
Yeah, no, I meant OSR has a very, very, very low barrier to entry in every aspect, but the reward, I will say, is very high, and that I think is actually the secret. Although the original D&D was very high barrier to entry, but reward very high. And I think that is the secret, especially to Shadowdark, is like the barrier entry is incredibly low. And you get a lot for that incredibly low barrier to entry. And that is the secret sauce, I think, of not just OSR games, but definitely Shadowdark. Like, it's like, man, it's really easy to get into, and you have a lot of fun right from the beginning. Like, it is really fun.
So there's a lot of things I could say about this, but I will say a couple of things. Number one, related to Roll for Combat, or not Roll for Combat, related to D&D. I am still surprised that D&D hasn't, for all, maybe we'll see it now. I mean, I talked about this when we talked about like the supposed 6th edition, and I was like, oh, with Luke Gygax. I still would think that there's a world where they make a D&D classic, and they try to kind of do the OSR thing.
I think they will, but keep in mind, that's like 3 years. So if they started it now, it won't come out for another 2 to 3 years.
So that's number one. Number two, I think there's something important for people to realize. It may not be apparent in the game because it goes to 20, but in my mind, D&D was always sort of designed to end around level 9. In a classic D&D, that was name level. That was when your character stopped gaining hit points. You stopped getting hit dice. Clerics got raised dead. Wizards got teleport. They were like, look, you are, yes, the game keeps going on after this, but there was a way of the game basically saying, like, you are essentially at this point the movers and shakers of the game. And I never thought in my mind growing up even that like D&D, for me, like level 9 or 10 was like the end of D&D anyways. But beyond that, your characters do become so powerful that it becomes, kind of a joke in a certain way. Now we've contrived new ways to challenge those high level characters, but I do think, and also by the way, the original saving throw mechanics, your saving throws were so good by level 9 or 10 that you almost passed every single saving throw. DCs didn't exist yet. That being said, Dr. Waits, you said I like actually feeling growth. There's no growth abilities in Shadowdark, just like there wasn't growth abilities in D&D. The growth was supposed to be diegetic. The growth was supposed to be through your gear. The growth was supposed to be between cool abilities that you got from interacting with strange fountains and pools and magical blessings and curses, or getting that cool new amulet that let you turn into a beetle swarm once a day. Like, that was how you were supposed to grow. You weren't supposed to grow through leveling up. You were supposed to grow through the stuff that you got. And that was sort of, again, it's the Batman versus Superman approach, right? Batman has his utility belt. He's well trained. He's pretty good at fighting. He gets better at fighting, but all of his special abilities come from, his stuff and his money, which is Batman, just like a high level character. Whereas Superman was just OP. He didn't need gear, because all of the power and abilities were, in him.
By the way, Superman is the literally hardest character on planet Earth to write for, because he is OP. So how do you create tension?
I mean, you say that, but also there's so many DC characters that are like Flash. Like,
there's a lot. No,
the Flash can travel through time.
No, but but it's actually well known. When my friends were in the comic industry, I had a lot of friends. I've told you those stories. Like, we used to go to Marvel offices.
And when you have Justice League groups where you have whole groups of characters, and one of them is Superman,
hard. Yeah, Superman can do anything. Literally,
if you're a GM and you're trying to think about how to deal with parties that have really weird and asymmetrical abilities, just watching or reading Justice League style like TV shows or comics can give you at least some tips, because they had to figure out a way to deal with Superman like every time, so that other people who were on the Justice League could do something. Because it's like, yes, Derik, you're right, Flash is very powerful. The problem is that Superman is canonically like not even that much slower than him, and has all the other stuff.
Actually, Superman could fly across the universe in one
Flash
of the
doesn't have
issues
kryptonite
in 30 seconds. Not the galaxy, the universe. Like, he is so ridiculously overpowered. I mean, he is basically God, and that is how do you write for God? Because you always need conflict, and there's no conflict. But there is. If you want to see how they do it, read All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman is 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, because it's nothing but short stories about Superman, and that's exactly what they do. And they're all like conflict stories, and it's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. It's actually incredible. Not only is it a good story, but I was like, wow, this is how you do it. Like, this is how you actually create conflict for a god. My favorite part
And if you want to learn how to not handle your overpowered players, then instead of like watching Justice League, I highly suggest you watch Smallville, because that's a great way to not deal with your overpowered players. Where it's Smallville, where it's just like every episode, it's always kryptonite. It's like, well, he's only weak to kryptonite, so this random person from his hometown has beetles or something, and they ate kryptonite, and it's just like kryptonite every time. That is what you want to not do with your players.
No. Well, what you have to do is you have to make him, which is what they did, and that's how they did it, is that his weakness is that he cares for people, and then you have to put other people in dilemmas, and that he can't use his super abilities to fix them or help them.
Something where brute force is not the only answer.
Exactly. Invincible. Someone brought up Invincible. Invincible is actually that's exactly how they do Invincible, because Invincible, Mark cares about so much about not just like humans and his friends, but humanity. And it actually drives him insane. And at the end of the season, he keeps having nightmares of everyone dying. And that's his weakness. His weakness is not a physical item. It's his morality. And that's how you do it. Wow, we're really getting into the weeds here, by the way. But yeah, that is actually how you do it. And it's fascinating. My favorite part of All-Star Superman, of all books, of all comics ever, is that they go to the Fortress of Solitude, and Bill's like, I think it was like with Lois Lane or something. It's like, oh, where's the key? How do you get in? He goes, oh, and there's like a welcome mat, and he literally opens up the welcome mat.
It's made out of like a neutron star.
Right, exactly. You know exactly. And he goes, oh, the key's right here. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's made out of a neutron star. And he picks it up, and it weighs like, 10 million tons. And he's like, yeah, no one else can pick it up except me. And he like unlocks the door. I was like, okay.
To be fair,
that was genius.
Silver Age Superman was out of pocket. Like that was just like, I mean, I don't really particularly love Silver Age comics books in general. I just think they're a little bit crazy. But anyways, I see Dr. Waits is talking about poison minion for druids. What do you mean your new school druids? You and your first edition druids. I'm talking about OD&D, where it was just fighting man, cleric, and magic user. Thief? That didn't come out till the Greyhawk supplement. Get out of here with your thief. There's only 3 characters. By the way,
we have a poll up right now for Deathbringer to see what class you are most interested in.
Deathbringer is not winning. Somebody in the comments said that the character Deathbringer is going to be outraged that his class is not.
Well, I got some inside info on this right here.
The winner right now is the Plague Doctor, actually.
Deathbringer class. Now wait, let me get the link. Here's where it gets crazy.
What are you doing voting for that weakling?
You got it. You pretty much did it. Well, guess what? It gets better because I have a secret. I have a secret story none of you know. I actually voted for Thief. And Thief is second worst, but Fighter is actually losing. But
Thieves have always sucked, and I don't like them.
Yeah, but the Thief and Deathbringer is awesome. First. Yes, the Plague Doctor.
So the interesting thing I realized about the Plague Doctor is that the Plague Doctor is so covered over in their mask and their coat and everything.
Yeah, you can even see what they are.
You can't tell anything about them. And if there are if the Iconics are 4 men and 4 women, the Plague Doctor might even be a woman. I have no idea who
no one knows. The Plague Doctor, it's on purpose. I did it. Yeah, so you can't tell if it's male.
Not that I'm like super, like this isn't exactly my aesthetic and it's not exactly my shtick. But if I were to vote and or play, I do think the Battle Nuns are pretty sweet. Only because they remind me of only because they kind of remind me of the Adeptus Sororitas.
Oh, and I think totally.
Like
well,
Warhammer 40K for those of you who don't know.
The thing is, everyone in this game is fanatical. They're just fanatical in different ways. Like the Battle Nun, fanatical. Witch Hunter, fanatical. Doomscribe, fanatical. Deathbringers, completely fanatical. They're
the thing that I like about the Witch Hunter in Deathbringer, though, is that sometimes you would think like it's weird that the Witch Hunter / Inquisitional character is like a class, because usually they would be bad guys because they're going too far. But in this setting, the wizards, the Doomscribes, are really, really bad news. Like the witch hunters are right. You should be hunting them.
Actually,
you should be hunting the Doomscribe
the world
class.
Is corrupted because of the Doomscribes.
Because of the you should definitely be hunting them. Honestly, it's weirder in some ways that you can even play the Doomscribe class, then that you can play the Witch
gotta be
Hunters.
careful.
Like the Witch Hunters very much are trying to help.
They have unlocked
because the Doomscribe's magic has ruined everything.
Yeah, they've unlocked and discovered things that was not meant to be seen, and the world is in chaos because of
and
them.
it's poisoned.
It's totally
awful.
poisoned.
By the way, I picked Doomscribe because they're the cause
Doomscribe
of
is
all
awesome.
the ills of the world. So
I like the
it just
Thief. The Thief, actually, I tell you why I like the Thief, because all the other characters, I mean, I know because I'm ordering all the art, they're all so serious, but the Thief is always smiling and sort of, she is the total insane wild card, which is exactly what I would play.
It feels to me like the Thief
She's
would
just
be
like,
like
"La-da-da-da-da."
the Thief is like the world is in peril.
Yes.
Everything is awful. There's war. There's destruction.
Yep.
It's a bad time to be a merchant. It's a bad time to be a peasant, but it's a good time to be a thief.
When she's just she's having a good time. Everyone else is having a bad time in this world, and she's having a great time. Actually, I'm working on a piece where she is strangling. She is stealing. She's stealing gems, and while she's doing it, she is strangling with her whip a vampire lordress, like a female vampire lord, and it is awesome. I was like, and she's like, she's like dying, and the thief is like sitting there on the jewels, smiling while
That's
she's
pretty
killing
impressive
her.
because vampires and Deathbringer are very tough customers.
Well, she got the drop on her because she came from the top and she got the drop.
And she probably got exploding damage because in Deathbringer, if you roll maximum, you just keep rolling
damage
until you stop rolling maximum. So
unlimited exploding dice. So back to the original story. Are you ready?
Always.
Professor wanted to remove the plague doctor, and he's like, I think I'm not going to keep the plague doctor. And I was like, why? He said, you got to keep it. And I had to convince him to keep the plague doctor. And now it's winning.
That is really funny.
I was like, I told you. I told you. There's something about you need, because they're all archetypes, you know, each one has their own niche that they fill, and you kind of need that mysterious, you know, unknown. And that plague doctor is that, you know, it's the guy behind the mask or woman behind the mask, and they, everything about them is mysterious. Like they're just all mystery, and it's very compelling.
They
to play
also
a character
feel more
like that.
different
Oh,
than some of the other things that are in there because you're just doing something different. You're making these weird potions every day from a weird potion table.
Yep. Yeah.
They also feel like something that would just be like really fun to expand with the GM if the GM decided to create other potions to add to your potion table or things like that. So I think that's part of what makes people really excited.
Also, you
about
don't really see,
Doctors.
like, you see fighters, you see thieves, you know, you see, I mean, Deathbringer's kind of like a barbarian type creature, but like
Deathbringer's almost like a alchemically engineered fighter, I think.
Well, they're mutants. They're literally Bane. They're literally Bane.
They are pretty much Bane.
They are Bane. They're Bane
right
from
now.
Batman.
It's going Plague Doctor, then Battle Nun, and then
because Battle Nun is unique.
Respect.
And I hate to say Plague Doctor, they're unique. They're like, you just don't see those in other games, and I think people are gonna like.
Well, I mean, no, you see them in every other game that isn't D&D.
Exactly. You never see them in any other game, and people like playing those. In other
Jedi
games.
says you see plenty of Plague Doctors at the Ren Fair. I also agree. Or at Darkest Dungeon. I mean, that's where most people know them from. I think.
But like, it's funny because no one's ever done that. Actually, this is a very interesting poll. I'm definitely going to use this. Not that we're making new classes anytime soon, but if I did make a new class, I definitely know where to go and which direction to go in now. It will be something that you can't play anywhere else. The Battle Nun too. Yeah, the Battle Nun. Ooh, they are fanatical.
People are asking in class how much of this world building is Professor GM versus RFC. It's basically entirely Professor
90% Professor.
I would say it's almost all him.
95?
The extent to which it's not him is times that he expressed the principles of world building to us in person at Gen Con, and we sometimes filled in some gaps, but while always following the principles that he said.
Rules. I mean, we are fine tuning it. We're smoothing it over.
Because they asked about world building. When you're talking about like,
it's all his world.
That was the question. When you're talking about like the specific words that are used in there, well, some of the stuff needed a little bit of editing just for grammar, things like that.
And when I do
you
the
know.
layout, I'm going to have to change things around. But
Of course.
yeah.
And those all are, but when it comes to the world building of like what was in that world, it's him. I think Runehammer also helped with some of that as well. It was working very in tandem with Professor DM on it, but that's how the world building came in.
Yeah.
There. Trust me, there. I have a nice list of. You know what? Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll do a Deathbringer class expansion pack.
You could.
You can.
But yeah, Shadowdark classes take like 5 seconds to make. So
there you go. You know
you
what?
could do a class expansion pack for the Knights of Last Call.
It's not that easy. As someone who's now made them, it's like, hey, 5 seconds.
Easy.
I'm like, easy.
It depends on if you want them to be simple or not.
Mark. Well, okay. 3 things. 1, actual Shadowdark classes are simple to make. Okay.
Not if they're spellcasters.
No. Yes. Now, granted, some of the things that are in the Shadow Elemental Camp, those are not your typical Shadowdark classes.
I want to be clear though, Derik. Have you seen some of the newer classes Kelsey made in later?
Yeah, like
books?
Sea-Wolf. I've seen like Sea-Wolf, and I've seen the Cursed Scroll.
Some of them are simple in the Cursed Scrolls, but some of them do have long lists of options that you can choose from.
Like
it kind of varies.
I'm just saying, like Jedi Protector says, would you make a card slinger class? Right? You made a card slinger class, right?
We did.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
The card slinger is definitely like the most complicated one because of the card drawing.
Right, that one is definitely the most. Oh, look, there comes the baby.
He just got groomed.
Oh wow. Oh. Yeah, I get to wake up at 7 a.m. tomorrow to take Maple in for her to get her X-rays and her test. See if she has a bad knee.
Oh,
she might need another surgery. In which case, Knights Last Call will be doing a 24-hour marathon with a fundraising goal of whatever the fuck this is going to cost me.
Oop, here she goes.
But anyways, yes. Okay. So anyways, I was just going to say, yes, even inside the realm of Kelsey's. That being said, compare a Shadowdark class, even one like the Card Slinger, Mark, although I wouldn't because that one's pushing the limits of what I would consider Shadowdark complexity. So like Eldamon.
Oh yeah, obviously. Okay. Eldamon Trainer is a complex class because it has so many Eldamon to choose from. There are just so many widgets. It's complex for sure. Though.
That Dratini was pretty sweet, Jedi, I will admit. Also, Jedi, it's because Steven didn't show up until Friday at Origins, and we didn't see you. I think we only saw you on that Thursday. I don't think we saw you beyond that. I mean, you might have stopped by. I missed you if you did.
24-hour stream to make 24 Shadowdark classes. There you go.
Let's go. I've got my what do they call it? Pomdaro?
24 Deathbringer classes.
What do I have? Is it called Pomdaro? Is that it? The Pomdaro technique? Is that what it's called? Where you like set a time? So I've got my
Pomodoros.
Yeah. Pomodoro. Thank you. I have my Pomodoro clock. I'll just I'll set a 60-minute clock and I'll be like, okay, guys, we have an hour. Whatever we don't get done or don't get done with this class, it's in an hour. We're leaving it. We're going to the next one.
Are you gonna be like wearing sunglasses and a full tank of gas?
Right. Yes. It's 300 miles to Shadowdark, and we got half a tank of gas and a full pack of cigarettes or whatever, and hit it.
We're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Yeah, we're wearing sunglasses at night. Hit it. Yes. Math guy Dave, you clearly never saw our our Daggerheart advice stream, which was the one that we were designing, where I had a 15-minute timer to cover each topic, and we hit it like clockwork. It was great.
Do we have a day for July for the Deathbringer Kickstarter? July 14th?
It is July 14th.
July 14th.
Wow, so Gen Con really will be right in the middle of the campaign, huh?
That's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And the Professor is hosting the Ennies, and we're going to be doing the whole Ennies thing too. Like, we got a lot going on. And poor Professor, because he's now he's retiring. And he's going through
he's definitely already retired,
things. Right? No, he's still retiring. He has all these things to go to and parties and dinners and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, we're ramping up the backer kit. And he's just like, oh my God. And I'm like, tell me about it. I was like, yeah, welcome to hell. Welcome to hell. It is a lot of work, buddy.
Welcome to
and
hell.
you're doing like 5,
Population,
and you're
you.
doing like 5% of it. So it's and he's
Well, listen, that's why being the publisher is a big job, and that's why he's
know.
paying you to do it.
I
When it was time to
know.
write it, when it was time to write it, he did like all of that writing back then,
Oh,
whatever
I
Woodhammer
know,
didn't
yeah,
do. So
yeah,
now he's in the
yeah.
point where you're doing the publisher things. You're showing your magic, what
Right.
you're bringing to the table.
I know. Tell me, I'm talking to so many people at this point. It's I literally have something like 20 conversations going on simultaneously.
No, I think it'll be exciting. Obviously, I think Dan
lot.
is an incredibly awesome, amazing person. I look forward to hanging out with him at Gen Con. I look forward to being fucking hype about his game. I hope, I've seen over the years his community come out for him. And again, I think it's doing something that, I don't think you're going to see this in D&D anytime soon.
No.
Crazy
and-
over the top 80s action.
Yeah. And also too, like, I get it. Like, I've seen the comments, I get that some people are like, this is stupid. This is a nostalgia bait play. What's with the girls in the chainmail bikinis? Look,
What
I
about the
respect
guys
it.
in chainmail bikini? No one seems to
whatever.
mention that part.
Well, no, but like sexual objects, you can't do the whataboutism. Like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
whataboutism is not a good
Well,
defense
people are
of
like,
that.
oh, it looks like Conan. Like, someone actually wrote that. They said, oh, this
Right.
looks like Conan. I'm like, yeah, that's the
Right.
point.
I'm just saying,
Like-
you can't use
Like,
butter emails isn't a valid excuse. But
Yeah.
so all I'm going to say is I think it's okay that you don't like that. I'm just
Yeah.
simply saying that I do think it's cool that people get choice, and I do think that
Yeah,
people
I don't
get
complain.
people have preferences. I mean, I always say that about my channel. I'm not, clearly not the first choice for everyone. I'm not the last choice for everyone, but I like that it's doing something different. It's like what you were saying about even, I think, the Deathbringer class. It very easily could have just been a barbarian class,
It's not. Yeah.
right? But it's not. I like that it's this kind of chemical, magical, mutant Bane character with the weird alchemical pipes and strange toxins and brews. And, I like that it is something different. And it feels darker. It feels a little bit more macabre. It feels a little bit more gritty. It feels a little bit more pulpy. And I think that's what's is really cool.
I agree, Derek. Like I've said it before, I also find like some of the pieces of art in Deathbringer, just a few of them, to be kind of like over the top, eye rollish, parody level, and
That's
they were
the
intended to
point.
be parody.
Right.
They were. I know.
Right.
I know. But
I know.
they don't match my taste. But that's okay because that is Professor DM's artistic vision
He
for
loves it.
what
He
he
loves
wanted
it.
in that. This is not the Mark Seifter and Stephen Glicker show. It's not the art that we would have
Mark
put
gets
in.
his own. He
It's
gets all
exactly
his
what he
cute
wants to put
Eldemar.
in, and is hitting exactly the target that he's
Yeah.
looking for.
And
Yeah.
like, if you respect art, then you have to respect that. And I think that's the most important part about it. Like, for example, there's a lot of, I mean, obviously I'm about as liberal as they come. And I think the messaging is great, but I don't like the D&D art with the, beholders are shaking hands and singing Kumbaya with people. And, the group of orcs are, they're vaguely, Hispanic, Mexican orcs are like having a great family day. No, those are orcs. They're to be destroyed. If it was up to me, all the art would still look like this, like
know.
it's like,
I don't know.
I played in a Savage Worlds Pathfinder game at NightCon, and I was a player. I was Harsk, and we were in this like Fey Lord's realm, and like this night hag came out, and she was very clearly the gardener of this of the Fey Lord's garden, and I was like, a monster, and I attacked her and killed her, and like. They were like, "What did you do?" I was like, "It was a monster. I took care of your monster problem." And they were like, "That wasn't a monster. That was a night hag." I was like, "That's not a monster. That's not a person. That's a monster." Like, no, that's a person. I go, "Is she in the player's handbook? Can you play her? She's not a player. She's a monster, and all monsters deserve death." I was just very like
Respect.
old school, us versus them dwarf, and I like that. It's a fun. I like that. I think it's okay that monsters can be monsters, and I think that's okay. We
I
can
will
kill monsters.
say we are trying to do. I mean, there's a couple of things in Deathbringer that no one else. I mean, first the 3-death system. I think pat myself in the back for that one. I think that one's going to be a game changer because it allows like more. I mean, to be honest, I totally stole that from Paranoia, but I love it in Paranoia. Paranoia allows you to be crazy because you don't have to worry about death as much.
Although I
And
think
was
that your
like,
version, Steven, the
Mhm.
one that is in Deathbringer is different and interesting because in
Yeah, it's
Paranoia,
different.
it's literally clones that
It's literally
you had
clones,
pre-prepared, whereas
yeah.
here it is you and you're
Yes.
scarred for it. Your clones
Yeah.
in Paranoia are just the same.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just
But the
came back.
point is that it allows you to be more actiony and not as restricted or strained. And I'm also going to probably put in options because people have been asking me, like, can it reset? Because in theory, it's like only once per like character, but can it reset once
only
per
twice
level?
per character ever.
Could it be reset? I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's your game, man. Whatever
I mean, you
want.
can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Deathbringer
definitely
already
put in variants.
Deathbringer already taunts you for even using that rule. It says that you should just die immediately.
Right. So we're definitely going to be having some variants in there because people have already asked me that, and I'm like, definitely, man. Like, if you want it to be a little bit less deadly, and you want to even have more actiony and become more like an action hero, definitely we can have that.
Deathbringer Sayer, why are you even going into my game if you're not here for the death? It's right in the name.
Well, there you go. Oh, I have his name for the DMs. They could be Death Masters.
There you go, Death Masters.
I actually think that's kind of hardcore.
That is pretty good.
Well, because I'm thinking, you know what? I was writing out the thing because I'm like,
I think that's actually,
it would be Death Master and it would use DM instead of GM.
Of course.
Exactly. Well, because I was writing you'd get a DM screen because one of the rewards is a DM screen. I'm like, wait, what? It's a GM screen? I'm like,
no,
God, there's no way they're going to accept Game Master in Deathbringer. So I was like, wait, Death Master. There we go.
That is actually completely awesome.
Yeah,
it's actually completely.
I literally just came up with that like 2 hours ago.
They're also not PCs. They're PVs. They're player victims. No, I'm just kidding.
Also, we got a super chat that said that the Deathbringer minis from Westphalia are dope.
Those were dope. They were insanely expensive, but they were really cool.
They're very expensive, but minis are expensive now. We actually did the math. They're not that expensive. They just seem expensive because minis are not cheap anymore.
That's true. It did cost me $75 to fill up my Subaru the other day at the gas pump. So everything's expensive.
I mean, everything. Well, not only that, I think it comes out to like 8 per mini, which is kind of what they cost now. You know, I mean, it's like.
Moral of the story is buy your own 3D printer and do your own. That's the moral of the story.
Well, the moral of the story is I think we're going to be having cardboard pawns in the game in one of the versions. So that way you can choose how you want to. If you want minis, you got minis. If you want cardboard, we got that too. You know, I mean, even for me to make them, and I'm doing them, you know, at mass, and it was expensive. And I was like, you know what? You can print out, you know, I can print out pieces of paper and get you a shit ton of minis, as opposed to, you know, it's expensive. And I'm trying to make it reasonable that you get a lot for a little. But I was saying, so we have, I think the combination, the UDT is good because man, UDT is fast, and I'd say you don't have to measure. It's literally you move, you attack. You're done. It's fast.
It looks nice. It's easy to use. It works perfectly. Cool. And the funny thing is that
it looks really good.
The way it works with zones makes it easy to use with the Shadowdark rule, existing rules about like close and near and far.
Yep, it works already.
Distances.
Yep. And I've used it because I played games with Dan. Because what he does is he literally sets up his scenes in the UDT, and then he puts he has a lot of things like bookshelves and shelves and
he uses
chairs.
that sort of add structure to the
beautiful.
Scene.
And then you put your characters in there. It's really nice.
Is always the important thing of the encounter.
Really people forget that it's called Dungeon Craft because originally Professor DM made it to showcase making terrain and stuff for your D&D campaign. He's as much into building little doodads and painting as he is anything else.
And it's funny because he does the UDT, and he actually gets angry because there's so many. There's Etsy's and people on there that make their versions of UDT. So he's like, those aren't UDT. So ours will be the official UDT.
Math guy Dave, I am not a representative of Roll for Combat, but I will say, as someone who may potentially in the future do a Kickstarter, I would say it is not for me to decide how my customers choose and want to spend their money. If you have people who support what you do so much, I think that you kind of owe it to them to make those offers.
Not only that, we were talking about this. These whale tiers that are $500,000, $300,000, $500,000. Do you know how much I spend on all my other hobbies I mean, it's like if I added up every single penny. Now, I'm a unique individual that has this many books and plus 10,000 more. But still, if I took all the money I spent on this hobby and combined it, it probably still wouldn't even come close to some of my other hobbies. You know,
Yeah. So, for example,
it's just like it's a very inexpensive hobby.
Even people
Yeah,
who
so-
like things like clothes or fashion
Yeah.
or things like that doesn't have to be your hobby. Is cars, which are like some of the most expensive.
Well, hell,
hobbies.
you've just seen shows. Like I have a friend, he goes to every concert. I mean, he goes to a concert a week.
Yeah.
He went and saw Taylor Swift, all whatever 3 or 4 shows, and he was within 5 feet of the stage in all 4 or 5 shows. And I'm like, I don't even want to know. Like it must have cost him tens of thousands of dollars to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
and he went every day.
So recently, I've been, I was thinking about buying it, and then, my dog has this surgery thing, so I'm probably not going to buy it. But like recently, Canon released a new line of lenses, and they are prime lenses. That means they don't zoom, and their aperture, maximum aperture is 1.4, which doesn't mean anything unless you know cameras. But the point is, they're the cheap ones that they just released. They're affordable, but still high quality, as opposed to their f1.2 lenses, which are like the ultimate, niche. The affordable ones that they created for the for the prosumer market, the one I was looking at, the 50 millimeter, is $1,500. That's for a lens, not the camera. That's just for the lens, and that's the cheap one. If you want a 50 millimeter 1.2, it's $2,700 for one lens.
Yeah.
So without a camera, So yeah, I think RPGs are very cheap.
And if you play golf, which I know a lot of people play golf, I mean, like just one game of golf costs you hundreds of dollars, and then you still have the clubs, which are hundred. Like everything is just so expensive.
I've shared this story last night, but I talked about how I got shirts made for Nikon, and obviously we're not printing at scale. I got 50 shirts made, so it's not like a huge order. And so, I'm going to pay a higher per unit cost because I'm only getting 50 made. It's not like I'm getting 1,000 made. So I got 50 made, and I used a more premium brand of t-shirt. I like to use like this Bella canvas brand. It's really nice, much nicer than your typical jersey or Fruit of the Loom. And my cost was like $33.50 a shirt, and I sold them for $35. In theory, I was making $1 profit per shirt. But even then, I knew I wasn't going to sell all the shirts. So whatever, I'm going to lose some money, whatever. But anyways, I felt bad charging $35 for a t-shirt. And then I went into Origins and I went to their merch, where of course they get thousands of shirts made. And they're on, generic, normal, not premium t-shirts. Yeah, they were $40 a shirt. And they probably paid $10 or something or less per shirt, and I paid $32 or $33.50. Things cost a lot, and people spend it, and they don't question it. So, and also too, I think it's important to realize that when you back a Kickstarter, a lot of these whale tiers that you're talking about, these aren't mega corporations. It's 2 people or 1 person, an indie creator building out of their home office. You are directly supporting that creator. And I think that that's why people do it. I don't think they actually care about the stuff as much as they go, I just needed an excuse to support you and what you do and your vision for the game. And I want to see more of this. And if I can make that, if I am lucky enough and blessed enough to be able to support you in that endeavor, I will.
Well,
those that can do, right?
You don't have to back we have a tier, the lowest one will be just the PDF, and you can just do that one, or just the core book, and that's it. Like, you don't need to do the top tier. It's like flying. You don't have to fly first class.
Right.
You don't have to fly business class.
Right.
It's there, but you don't need to use it. So,
right. And I said before, we did NightCon. Okay. It was $50 per attendee for the ribbon, and that got you access to the lounge, unlimited food and drink, whatever you wanted, snacks, the whole kit and caboodle, door prizes, the whole bat. $50 a person. Well, I had a couple of my attendees who paid $1,000.
Yeah.
Now, why? Because they could. Because they're well off and they're doing well, and they said, "Hey, if I can pay $1,000 to make it cheaper and easier and better or less stressful for you, Derik, or if I can lower the rate or the price that everybody else has to pay, I'm willing to do that." So again, those that can do.
And by the way, we are
it's about community. It's about taking care of each other. And when it comes to small independent, again, this isn't WotC. You know, in the case of like Deathbringer, we're talking about Dan. We're talking about Professor Dungeon Master. You know, the person that you've been watching for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. This isn't some stranger on the internet. I'm not trying to say that you're best friend.
It's a retired teacher.
Yeah, it's a retired teacher who's fighting cancer.
It's a retired teacher who's also married to a teacher. They're both public school teachers who's raised the family.
And he's fighting cancer. He's still fighting cancer. Yeah.
So right. Because you have to be, I think it's 5 years out before you're officially.
He's actually, he's still seeing the doctors.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You're going to continue to see your oncologist until you're at least 5 years out.
And we're trying to, and something else.
Even after 5 years, my dad still sees people, just it takes you a longer period of time in between each one because you're not as worried about it.
All I'm saying is it's not going to the shareholders of $ has. It's going to the people that and respect and have met and can hang out with and see at cons and all this other stuff. So that's why I think like the whale tier is much about providing an opportunity to support your favorite creator as it is about giving a chance to really like show off how much you are in support of and love these games and that type of stuff. Now there are Kickstarters out there that are massive, huge, multi-whatever billion-dollar Kickstarters, and they have these crazy tiers. And if people want to do that because it's some super uber limited edition and I want to get the Cyberpunk cards or whatever, I mean, I guess that's fine. But again, I mean, it's not. This isn't. We're not talking about food. We're not talking about food. We're not talking about healthcare. Right. We're not talking about what I would consider to be mandatories. We're talking about RPGs. So games. I don't feel bad if there's some premium tier that if there was some gatekeep like you have to pay $300 just to get the game. Okay, fine. But if you can get the PDF for $40 or $35 or whatever, it's like, I didn't get the exclusive dice bag and Dispel dice or whatever. It's like, do you really need those? No. So the cost of entry is still ridiculously low.
There is a dice bag, by the way. Anyhow, I'll say I do try to add things of value. I spend more time thinking and finding stuff that we can add that's cool. Like this. I mean, look at this thing. It looks so. I should have brought some.
Is that some of the things Steven's talking about?
Stitched? Is that stitched?
Yes. Look at that.
Oh, cool. That's it's a patch. Oh, thick.
It's a patch.
That is this 11-inch back patch. And look at, the quality is, look at that quality. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And we're going to make tons of, not just this one. And I actually have this on the back of a jean jacket with Deathbringer on the back. And Miss Diana of the Rose has it in her hands right now and will be modeling for us.
Those jean jackets, by the way, though,
shocking.
Those jackets are really hard to make, right? Those are not cheap to even make those jean jackets. Those patches aren't cheap, but the jean jackets.
The jean jacket's very expensive.
They're extremely expensive to make. Edition. So it's like
that's very.
You couldn't offer that on anything but a so-called whale tier because you would lose a massive amount of money.
No, yeah,
it is like one of my attendees, and again, not like complaining, but like one of my attendees was like, because I got like 10 or like 15 like moleskin hardback journals made with the Nikon logo, and I gave them
I got mine.
Sponsors and supporters of the show, and people who helped me run it and set it up. And one of my attendees was like, "Oh, it'd been cool if we had all gotten one." And I was like, "I agree. It would have been cool if we had all gotten one." But then your badge would literally have had to double in price. Like it's not like it's those things can be expensive. And like you said, if it's $50 just to get a moleskin made, I can only imagine how much getting a custom jean jacket made.
Yeah, no, it's extremely
expensive.
It's
a little expensive.
It's a little bit more than $50.
You should expect that any tier that has that in it is going to be very expensive.
It's going to be very
Steven doesn't lose money on that tier from the upgrade.
But we're only going to do a limited number. So it's like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't,
Yeah. I don't think he's expecting to even make that much extra from that. That's why he's having to limit the tier, because he could wind up losing money and he doesn't want to lose big by having a ton of people on it.
Right.
Find my moleskin. I got one of those.
I did get
But it's just so cool to have it, though.
It is. And then people at the cons will wear them. And actually, the thing is, I'm also going to make, here it is. I got stickers and other stuff. Hey, look what I got, Derik.
Yes.
I know. I'm very excited. He gave me this. I've actually always wanted one, and he gave me one. And I was like, yay.
I'm a
big
fan of
start telling my story. I'll start off, Derik's gift.
Yes.
We'll treasure it forever.
Do a solo campaign and keep it journaled.
Are those
Did we show the jean
patches?
jacket? No, Dave boy. The only jean jacket in existence is currently owned or being acquired by
I showed
Diana
it
of the
last
Rose.
week. I showed it last week.
Did you show it last week?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
So there you go.
Yeah,
She's
he
gonna-
showed off one that had the lighter one, and he said there's
Yeah.
also potentially going to be
Yeah.
a darker one.
Yeah, well, she's gonna model it, and then we'll put some pictures up because.
Oh yeah, Hollow. You definitely got to sew that on there. You know, you got to get your seamstressing
Yeah,
skill
yeah.
on.
No, this thing is this one's a sticker, so you can put it on anything. But,
but I mean,
you
you
can
could-
heat transfer this right on,
Right,
or
right,
sew it.
right.
You know, yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I would definitely
Look
sew
how
it,
big it
but-
is, though. This is actually the biggest
well-
they can make.
Well, it's
11
designed to
inches.
go across like the back of between
Yeah.
your shoulders, right?
Well, you know
Yeah.
where I got the idea? Because I was like, God, I remember my friends were like metalheads in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And they had like Metallica on the back. And
Yeah,
then I
of
went,
course, of course.
and then I looked it up and
Yeah.
I found this. And I was like, oh, Deathbringer. So it said, and it has like, it's so, everything I'm doing is like coming from the 80s. It's all 80s hair metal, everything.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing. My Mark
Right.
is fighting the sun. He is fighting the sun.
Hey, I succeeded somewhat in fighting it back because it was completely overpowering me, so I had to pull
Are those
down the shade.
patches
That's why
and or different size variants going to be available. I'm starting to collect patches for Battle Vest. Yeah, well, it's going to be on the Deathbringer Kickstarter or backer kit.
That's why you got to have the ability to go full nuclear sun.
Oh no.
I actually have it right here. I can open it. I'm too lazy to open my shutters. I guess you don't have racquetball today.
I do. So
Oh,
Okay.
so we better let you
So
get
do we
to
have
it
to
soon.
have to let you
'cause-
go?
yeah,
Yeah.
we're playing at 5:30 instead of 5:15. So
Oh, that's why
he's
you
got-
were able
that's
to
why
stay a
he's
few
so
minutes past
relaxed.
5.
That's
So wait,
why
when
I
are we
wasn't-
playing arcs, buddy? You gotta.
that's I'm going to start setting up the game. I think
Okay.
tonight, and then whenever we can get a chance, I want to finish.
You guys have to tell me if that eco-terrorist managed to pull
Oh,
off the surprise
you'll hear
win.
it. You'll hear about. Oh, the other
Oh,
story.
I'm sure
I'm
Steven
going-
will
I'm
stop
going all
complaining
nuclear
about
on
it
him.
if that
I'm
happens.
going all-
Because
I'm-
Steven thinks he's in
I'm
the
going all
lead, and
nuclear
if he
on
loses to that,
The other good story is Jess Redicop became like the most dominant,
That
powerful
was
chancellor.
No, she did
of
not. I
all-
disagree because
Okay,
no, Smith was supposed
And
to
wait-
play, and she did not. She is an usurper, and I refuse to accept that she is the rightful ruler because she came in.
and Steven got to play in the most lopsided
It
game
wasn't
of
a
Oath
game.
that is
Actually,
has
so
ever
this is-
existed.
No. It wasn't a game because there was nothing to do. It was not a game. It was literally just storytelling. And this is the problem. You see, you enjoyed it because you've seen the story from the beginning. But imagine
true.
you're reading a
That's true. That's
book and you come into the book on the 78th chapter and everyone else is having a great time and you literally have no fucking clue what is going on. So it is atrocious for you because I'm like, I don't get anything. I have no reference of what's going on. I don't understand the story. I don't know what the history is. And I just got the shit kicked out of me. So
You sure
I will
did.
say the Arcs game I played might be one of the greatest games I've ever played, ever,
And
of
the-
all time. And it might become one of my favorite board games in history because it's so much
Right.
fun. And this Oath game goes
Was the
down
worst.
as the absolute worst game because I'm not even saying it was a game. It was the worst experience of gaming I've ever had in my entire life because it wasn't a game. There was no game element. I know you're like, oh, just tell the story. And I
Tell the
agree,
story.
but it was for you because you and Jess were there.
Listen,
so I
listen,
had no
listen.
idea what was going on.
Jess built she built an airtight empire that could not be assailed. That's all
But
I'm
there
going to
was
say.
nothing to do. And on top of that, a third of the
Steven,
rules.
did you have a choice?
Yeah, he
No.
could have not played.
I could have not played.
But once he played, there were no decisions to make for his
No,
character.
he could have
Oh, I
joined.
could have
He could have
done
joined
nothing.
the empire. He could have
Yeah, I
joined
could
the
have joined
empire.
the nothing and literally done nothing.
He could have joined
There's
the
no
empire
game.
and shared in the glory.
Yeah, well,
Oh, okay.
right.
So
There is
if,
no
if
game.
your
There
only
is no
choices
game.
are to join and do nothing or to oppose
No.
and be crushed,
No,
That
I
was
would
it.
say that is a game, but it's not a very good game.
No, it's
He could have-
terrible.
wait.
And I
He
got,
could have-
I
wait,
got
no,
absolutely
okay.
destroyed.
he could have joined. He could have joined the empire, secured the people's favor, and become the successor to the rulership of the empire.
But I'd have
See-
to take it from her. And
She didn't
couldn't.
have it. No one ever took the people's favor the entire game. It was sitting there on the side of the board. Now, to be fair, you're not like intimately familiar with the rules of Oath. So
See,
I'm just
that's
saying.
another
But-
problem. I didn't know exactly how to do
No,
that.
I understand. Well, also, we
Yeah.
had just come off of playing 10 hours of the most complicated board game of all time.
Yeah, well,
Like, I mean, it's fine. But I'm just saying, it's not as hopeless as Steven paints it to be, but it was pretty damn hopeless. I'm not. He's actually not over exaggerating
the
that
problem
much.
with this game is that it is a game that continues, and because it's a continuation game, it's like, so there was all this, like the board came in pre-built because it was built off the last 10 games. So we didn't
Right.
start in the beginning. We literally
No.
started like on the 50th chapter of this game. So like, why am I coming into a game that's
And it's
already...
like, Steven, welcome to the game. There is the dominant empire that you can't stop.
Yes.
Correct.
Will you
But they
strive for
literally-
the 1 in 100 chance of getting the favor of the people
Yes.
to be a successor, or
Yes.
will you
Yes.
die?
No,
or
that
will
was
you
it.
do
That was it.
nothing?
It was like, welcome to
To
the
be
game.
fair,
You literally
he
have a 1 in
charged-
100 chance of actually affecting the game in any significant way, or you could join us and do nothing.
To be clear, I think his odds were better than 1 in 100. Number two, he probably had a 1 in 100 chance of like winning overtly directly. But what was his odds of actually influencing future games?
Who gives
Much
a
higher.
shit? I don't care
But,
about
no,
future
but,
games.
but that's the whole point of the game.
No,
the
that
whole
was
point of the
not
game
true.
is not. The
I
whole
couldn't
point of the game isn't
influence
to
the
win.
future games because the board was completely built. There was
You could've-
very
you could've-
little
you could've-
space.
If
to
you had
build-
seized control, if you had seized control of a site, you could have been the ruler of that site, which means that site would no longer be part of the empire in the next game. And
Yeah,
I know
but
that that's a very
Who cares?
weird way. Exactly. You're like, who
If
cares?
he's
But I
never
would
going
argue
to play the next game.
I'm
then
never
why
going to
does he
play the
care?
next game, right?
because the idea is that you're having this lasting impact that goes beyond
care.
just this one game, right? That's
I
my
don't care.
box, my game, and you can kind of carry with you the knowledge that it will always be shaped by the actions that you took that day. I agree. It's not a traditional way of thinking about board games or design, but
It
I will
almost
also
seems
say,
kind of flash in the pan, because if Steven doesn't play in the next game, then the Empire just seizes the site back, and in the game after that,
Yeah.
well, maybe not.
Steven's
Maybe,
legacy is
well, no.
immediately gone.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
For all
exactly.
Steven knows, the next game, because the Empire isn't as
but I
powerful, the
won't
exiles
know.
are able
I
to
won't
seize control.
know.
No, you'll hear about it from me.
I won't care. Here's the thing.
You don't think Jess cares about the empire that she built, even though she's never probably going to play that Oath
I don't
again,
care.
game again until next year?
I'm not Jess. I don't care what Jess thinks on
That
this.
being said, I will say this: Steven charged valiantly.
Oh,
and
I did
died
my
valiantly.
fucking best.
He charged valiantly and he died just as valiantly. It was.
It's like the charge of the Light Brigade, where
Oh,
No,
it
no,
was like-
yeah,
it
you're
was-
obviously going to lose
yes.
the
Yeah,
entire time.
No. It was. You know that
over
scene
and over again. I
You know
tried.
that scene
I
from Return
tried.
of the King where Faramir takes the knights of Minas Tirith and they're riding across the Pelennor to Osgiliath, and you see them charging, and then
Yeah.
you see the first orc look,
Yeah,
and then it's
that
like
was
then
me.
the next scene
That
you
was
see like
me.
there's like 30 orcs, and then the next you see like 1,000 orcs, and then they all have their bows, and it just like cuts to like Faramir's like nearly
tried.
dead body.
I
You
tried.
You got obliterated, but you
I
tried.
got
It was great.
obliterated, but you were a little scared. You were a little scared each time.
I was, to be fair, the dice. Well, there was a lot of dice, but if we needed them to be that high, we needed them to be absurd. Otherwise, we would never have won. So you did assemble a massive army in what I will consider to be record time. Then that got killed. Then he built a second army and tried one more time. If it didn't work the first time, it'll work the second. And he just sacrificed all of his people into the meat chipper. And he
Into
was,
the Valley of Death
Yes.
rode the 600.
I tried.
Yes,
I tried.
yes.
Well,
And
at
it
least
was-
I was doing something. But,
I mean, it was quite.
But Arcs is like a trillion times more superior in every way.
I will say this. I think Oath is great and I love it. I do think Arcs is the better game, just because
Oh,
I think
way
it
better.
has a better structure and
It's
the rules mechanics.
Much more interesting, and you have a story because it is the
Well, it's more
standard.
contained, right? I mean, because it's especially the Blight of Reach. It's 3 games and then you're done.
Well,
and then the next
even
time you play is
our one session games are fantastic
Yeah.
because there is Arcs is so brilliant. It does the standard. There's a story within your empire. There's a story within your region, and then there's a story within the world. So there's like multiple levels of story,
Right.
and so there's so much going on that it's brilliant. I mean, it really
It
is
is
a brilliant. It's a brilliant narrative. It's a brilliant game.
Right.
There's
What
so
better
much
way
happening.
to end our D&D stream than by talking about how great Cole Worley's board games are.
well,
It's kind of not that unusual, though.
I mean, his
It is,
games
it
are
is,
good.
Yeah.
We talk about all kinds
Root's
of
good
games
too.
here. We're not all
I do like
focused only on Dungeons
I like
and
Root as well.
Dragons.
I like
I
Root
like
as well.
Root
so.
as well. I mean, I think Root
So-
is vastly.
I'll bring, you know what? I'll bring it to Gen Con, buddy.
There you go.
Uh,
We can have Arcs Part 2.
Oh wait,
You should bring arcs to PAX Unplugged, and then we somehow find
wait,
a
I
way
just got
to
a
play
ton
it
of
there.
pic-
I think you would
Pictures.
love it, Mark.
I just got a ton of pictures from Diana of the Rose.
All
If
right.
we wait 2 seconds, I can throw one.
All right. Well, I can wait like a minute or two. So
Well, I'm downloading them. Oh my god, she
Okay.
gave me literally like 100.
you say she always goes over and above.
Her stuff is
great.
really good.
She's really
She works
good.
hard.
She's
Yeah.
very, very smart, and she's a very good gamer.
I honestly think
That remains to be seen.
the elemental videos she's doing are getting better and better too. They were already good, but it just feels like she
Oh wow, these are good.
is like even connecting the elements and how they're working together more as she's going through them. So that's cool.
Oh wow, she. Wait, I gotta show this picture. All right, I do have a side view. Hey, look at that! It worked. Okay, hold on. Let
All
me
right.
throw this
Are you
up.
going to
It'll
put it
take a
up on the
second.
stream so we can all see this?
Yeah. Hold on, I'm doing it.
Here it comes, everyone. Exclusive for staying to the end.
Exclusive. Hold on. Add file.
Ken McGuire says I put $300 just on cello strings this weekend.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's
It
crazy.
easily happens. So
Yeah, you can see there's the picture of her. That's
nice.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's exactly what I envisioned it was going to look like, and it is exactly what. And by the way, I mean, the OSR people love their patches. You know that there's going to be 1,000,001 other patches that you're going to be able to like add to that. And
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
well,
only-
Steven's gonna have more than just that one patch. He's already, if you
Yeah.
get all the Deathbringer patches, gonna have a bunch of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
Yeah,
a whole
that's-
bunch. I'm gonna
that's
do a whole
great.
bunch. And
That's
wait,
sweet.
she actually. Oops, that's me.
I'm surprised there isn't a picture of her doing this. Cool guy.
There you
collar
go.
flip.
Wait, I got another.
I mean, I
one
guess you're
for-
trying to show off the actual Deathbringers thing and not just a jacket.
Whoops, that's the wrong one. Hold on. I got the. Oh, that's the wrong one too. What is it? Oh,
Steven is becoming really quiet.
What?
Well, he's
Oh, because
muttering
I'm
to himself.
talking into my mouth. I'm talking to my mouth. Hold on. I am finding. Oh, here it is. The other one.
We've seen 18 pictures of the same picture.
I know. Well, because I keep screwing up. There we go. There we go.
OBS
There's
is
the
a
other
very
one.
complicated platform. It's not like it has a literal
Well, no,
slideshow.
they're all named the same except for like one letter, so they were hard for me to find.
Cool. Oh, there you go. It's showing a little skin.
Yeah.
Gotta get that e-girl, gamer girl aesthetic going.
Look at her background.
Um,
I didn't do that. That's her background.
I know. I said she's, very professional.
She knows what she's doing.
But that's cool. That's exactly what I envisioned, and that's really cool. Very neat. So
Yes. So we're
very
gonna have
awesome.
a Deathbringer. Oh, this one's pretty good.
Yeah, with that I have to run.
All
All
right.
right. Well, enjoy your racquetball, Derik. And everyone who's watching, thanks for watching to the end. Until next time, if you want to battle the zoo or become a death master, you have to roll for combat.
That name is metal. You do that. We
It
have
really
Yeah,
is. That is
master.
Steven, that is brilliant.
when the three of us agree, like that you gotta do that. You gotta do that. So
Who
all
are
right.
the dead?